Hey everyone, welcome to the week 1 MLI Lab session. Can everyone hear me? Cool, Richard can hear me, so I'm assuming everyone can hear me. Awesome, cool, thank you all for coming. Got 7 people in here so far, probably more will show up. Cool, so lab sessions, as you probably know, basically like an open study hall kind of thing. We're going to be drilling all the stuff that you picked up in the Tuesday lectures, although lecture this week was on Wednesday, yesterday. So has everyone in here seen all of the week 1 lecture that Mr. Rogozinski presented last night? Okay. Well, the idea behind this lab is to just drill topics that Mr. Rogozinski went over on Tuesday. So this is not going to be like a lecture. So that being said, I know, so not all of you have seen his lecture. I'm going to kind of proceed as if you have a basic understanding of how intervals work, first of all. So first thing we're going to be doing is drilling some intervals. So I'm going to play an interval, and you're going to try to tell me what it is. So how comfortable do you guys think you are with that? You think it'll work out? And if anyone has their mic on, you're free to just respond on the mic, but if you're in a noisy environment, just keep your mic muted. Okay. Adriana's in the library. Okay, so yeah, let's just give it.
I think mine's working.
Okay, yeah, I heard something. Marcus, yeah, your mic is definitely working. Cool. So.
Oh yeah.
So. Okay, so.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I hear someone else. I couldn't tell who that was.
It's me, Frank.
Oh, Frank. Okay, cool. Welcome, Frank. Cool. So yeah, everyone is invited to turn their mic on, as long as you're in a very quiet environment. So I know a lot of people do this from home. You got kids, you got family running around the house or whatever. If you're in a noisy environment, please do everyone the favor of keeping it off. All right. So you can quickly turn your mic on and off by holding Shift Command M, as it says in the little message that you got when you signed in. You're also welcome to share your camera with everyone, as a couple of us have. Just makes it feel more like a classroom. That's kind of what I'm going for. So because these topics are pretty intense, this class is not an easy class for anyone who is kind of under the impression that it is. This is most students regard this class as pretty difficult, especially if you don't have a strong background in music theory, like before you came to Full Sail. You're going to really need to brush up on your theory chops hard. Okay? So that means you need to be playing and singing up major and minor scales every day. And we're going to try a little bit of that in a few minutes. So who here can play all 12 major scales, just by show of yes or no's or whatever? Can you play all of your major scales, even if it takes you a while? I feel like you can do that.
I think so.
Okay, Albert says yes. Marcus says he thinks so. Cool. Great.
I could try. I don't know if I get all 12.
Okay. Well, do you know about how you can, let's say you don't know them all by memory. That's okay. You want to get there, but let's say you needed to someone said, okay, I need you to play me the E flat major scale. This song that I'm playing is in the key of E flat major, and I need you to help me figure out what the melody is. And it's in the key of E flat major, so you're going to need to use the E flat major scale. Let's say you had a circle of fifths handy. Do you feel like you could figure out the E flat major scale using the circle of fifths? Does everyone know how to do that, or does?
Definitely.
Okay, cool. Does anyone not know how to do that? I'm just trying to gauge where everyone's at right now.
That's something I'm not comfortable with.
Okay. Okay, cool. So let's just do one brief example of that. All right. And of course, this isn't this isn't so much of an ear training drill, but it's important to be able to do in order to move forward. So in your materials box of the Go-To Training control panel, you've got some stuff that I would recommend you download if you don't already have this stuff. You've got a circle of fifths, an interval ID chart, something called a Lab 1 whiteboard. So that's kind of like the notes that kind of the pre-written notes for this particular lab session that you're free to use if you find them helpful. You've also got a note and rest values chart that's specifically made to help you with rhythm, understanding how many notes fit in another note. For instance, 2/8 notes fit in a quarter note, 2 quarter notes fit in a half note, or whatever. And then you've got a document called MLI Week 1 Helpful Links, which is just some websites, some outside resources that we encourage you to use. So I'll probably be using all of those at some point during the night. All right. So what I'm going to do first is open up the circle of fifths. And I think someone has a very loud button that they're hitting or something like that. And these computer mics are right by your desk and everything, so it's very easy to make a lot of noise. If you're typing a lot or anything like that, just go ahead and mute yourself until it's time to get on the mic to do something. Okay, so I'm going to open up circle of fifths here. So let's just briefly go over how to use this. So let's say I needed to second. Let's say I wanted to make an E-flat major scale. What would be the first thing I would look for on the circle of fifths here?
E-flat.
Right, the E-flat. And it's this E-flat right here. So the green circle on the outside of this particular chart are all the major keys. A key is just a collection of notes. So we're looking for the collection of notes that represents the key of E-flat major. Okay, what's the next thing I would look at before I'm able to form an E-flat major scale?
It would be F.
What was that?
It would be F natural.
Okay, yeah, that would be the second note in the scale, but I need to have an idea. Oh, I see someone answered. Andre, I think, answered the number of flats. That's what I need to know to form the entire scale before I even start building the scale. But you were right, F is the second note. So I'm going to go into this inside circle and look at the 3 flats. Okay, that tells me that the E-flat major scale is made of all natural notes, all white keys, except for 3 flats. You got 3 accidentals. They're flats. So since this scale involves flats versus sharps, I'm going to go down here and look at the order of flats. However many flats or however many sharps I have, I start with the first one and add on. So I'm going to start with B flat. That's definitely going to be in there. E flat's definitely going to be in there. And A flat's going to be in there. And those are the flats that I'm going to use to build my scale. So I got to keep those in mind, B flat, E flat, and A flat. And if you've got your keyboard plugged in, go ahead and do this with me. I'm going to open up Sibelius and got this little piano graphic. So you should be able to see what I'm playing in a second. Cool. So it doesn't matter what octave, which E flat you start on, really. So if I start on this E flat or this E flat, I can build the E flat major scale regardless. It's going to be the same notes. So I'm going to find E flat. Here we are on E flat. So I'm going to play all natural notes until I get to the next E flat. All natural notes except for those 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat, were the 3 accidentals in this key. So, and I need to hit every letter between, I got to go E, F, G, A, B, C, D until I get to E, right? So I'm thinking about every letter, and I'm thinking about the accidental. So I'm going to start with E flat. That's my first scale degree. Then I go to F. That's my second scale degree. No flats so far. G is my third scale degree. That's the third of the scale. Okay, now here's the question. After G, do I go to A or A flat or A sharp or what? What kind of A do I go to?
You go to A flat.
Right, because it was in the key signature, right? A flat, then what?
B flat.
B flat, right. So I've hit all the letter names, E, F, G, A, B, right? Okay, then what after B flat?
C.
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 Mm-hmm. Okay. Then what? What's the last two? Don't be
Hold
sure.
on.
D and E flat.
Yeah, D and E flat, right. So I've got my whole scale. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. Cool. And I've got a whole E flat major scale. I could keep going up another octave. Use the same notes, right? Cool. Now this sound should be familiar to you, right? Does this sound familiar? The sound of a major scale, you've heard that before, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, cool. You want to be really familiar with it. In fact, you're going to get so familiar with it over the course of the month that eventually I'll be able to play. If I give you the sound of the key by playing the tonic chord, the tonic triad, and then I play a note in the scale, you should be able to say, oh, that sounds like the fifth. Even if you don't know what key I'm in, if you can't see what I'm playing, just that sound in relation to the sound of the key, to the sound of the tonic note and the tonic triad, that should sound like the fifth of the scale. And you can arrive to that conclusion in several ways. And one of those ways is by, comparing that note to the root note using your knowledge of intervals. How far away is that note from the root note? How far away is this note from the root note? So I'll use that as a segue. How far away is this note, the B flat, from the root note E flat? What interval is this? So Adriana said fourth. Jerry said fifth. And you can there's a couple ways. Okay, Albert says a major sixth. We've got 3 different answers now. 4 different answers. Brittany says a minor sixth. Andre says a perfect fifth. Okay. Okay, this is actually a perfect fifth. Perfect fifth. So we like to refer to the major scale to help us name intervals. Okay. So if we use any major scale, C major, G major, B flat major, F sharp major, it doesn't matter what major scale, you can find a handful of really important intervals in any of those scales. So just pick a major scale. You can use C major, it doesn't matter. I'm going to stick with E flat major. So from the root to the fifth of a major scale is what we call a perfect fifth, and we label that as P5, uppercase P5, perfect fifth, okay? It's a very stable interval. If you put it together, if you play it harmonically versus melodically, it sounds very stable, right? Jerry mentioned that it's 7 half steps away. Yeah, that's true. You could count 7 half steps from E flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and find that. That would be a perfect fifth. If you're familiar with the half step method to name intervals, that's cool. I would prefer that you instead start referring to scales. Okay, it's gonna make you a lot quicker at naming an interval.
I have a question.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, not to go back, but the circle fifth.
Mm-hmm.
You said how to find the key in the circle fifth starting with the first flat, so like E flat major, right?
Yes.
How do you reference to that on the chart itself? Because I'm still trying to understand. Because when I look at it, it's like Wheel of Fortune.
Okay. Yeah. This particular copy of the circle of fifths, it's one that we made, so it doesn't have a lot of information on it. It's got kind of the bare bones. So yeah. So these symbols on the outside, E flat, B flat, F, C, G, D, A, E, in the green circle, those are all the major keys. They're just the names of the major keys. You could also think of them as the names of the major scales. This is the root note of each scale. This is the B flat major scale, F major scale, And as you go inside the circle, it's got various pieces of information. The only pieces of information we're concerned about now is the name of the scale, and then this white inside circle. This just tells us how many accidentals are in the scale, whether they be sharps or flats.
Okay.
Yeah. So C,
Okay,
the C major scale, as you hopefully remember, has no flats and no sharps, which is why there's a 0 right here, right?
Right.
And as you move away from C, clockwise, you start adding sharps. As you move away from it counterclockwise, you start adding flats. So the E flat major scale contains 3 flats. And the way, once you know how many flats there are, how many sharps, you just go down to the order of flats or order of sharps. And if it's 3, you're going to take the first 3. If it's 4, you're going to take the first 4. So no matter what, you know what I mean? So you know, the F major scale has 1 flat. That would be B flat. The B flat major scale has 2 flats. That would be B flat and E flat. Cool, I hear someone banging away on a piano. I think it's Andre. Go ahead and mute your mic, please. But I like to hear people playing their piano.
So the orange after the blue is giving you the for the B major G minor. Is that what it's saying? Right
I didn't totally hear your question. I heard a bunch of noise coming through someone's mic. So I don't know.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
The orange circle after the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Those like the G minor on the B flat major. Is that what that's referenced to? That those three keys are G minor.
No. This you don't need to worry
It's just
about.
to help you keep up with the flats.
So he was asking about the orange circle. This is actually the relative minor key. So each of these is a major key. These are the relative minor keys. Don't worry about those too much right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Excuse me, sir. A quick question.
Yes, sir.
How do I enable civilians to let me hear piano playback when I hit my keys?
Okay.
Because I'm pressing it, I'm not getting anything. I'm trying to follow.
Do this real quick. Go to Note Input, this tab right here, and go to Input Devices. And is there anything appearing right here? Is it
Yes, sir. I have my Oxygen 25 device name. It's up here.
Is it checked off right here?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's cool. Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out.
Your keyboard's plugged in and it's on and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That should do the trick. It also might be. Where is it? You may need to go to. The Play tab. Go to Mixer. Make sure the main volume's turned up, the master volume, and you may also need to hit this little button underneath it. Although, yeah, you may need to hit that little box right here, and then hit Audio Engine Options, and make sure that I would select like built-in output.
Okay.
That might have been it too. Yeah.
I can mute it.
Cool. So cool. Yes, so we were talking about the circle of fifths. Don't worry about any of these other things right now. Just focus on the outside green circle and the inside white circle. These are the major keys. Okay. These tell you how many flats or how many sharps are in that key. These out here are the enharmonic keys. Enharmonic, E-N-H-A-R-M-O-N-I-C. And I think, hey Marcus, I think it's something going on your end that's like making a loud button clicking noise. If you wouldn't mind muting yourself.
Let me mute myself.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Thank you. No problem. You're welcome to unmute yourself whenever we do some vocal stuff. So these are the enharmonic keys. What does enharmonic mean? Does everyone know? Jerry got it. Yeah. I mean, and did someone else have a different answer or differently worded answer? So basically, D flat and C sharp. If you played that on your keyboard, a D flat, then you played a C sharp, you'd literally be playing the same key, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They're just basically one step down from each other.
Well, they're not one step down from each other. They're actually literally the same note, the same pitch, right? So there's a D flat. This is also a C sharp, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all
that's
the
right, yeah.
all the black keys have two names, right? So E flat
Right.
could also be D sharp, G flat could also be F sharp. And let me go ahead and
I'm referring back to my music theory folder here.
okay, cool, good, yeah. Crack open those old music theory notes because you're gonna want to be really solid on this stuff. So yeah, these are just more major keys. So these are the three major keys: D flat, F sharp, and B, that are also commonly written as these keys. So you could have a song in D flat. You could rewrite the same song in C sharp and be the same exact notes, right? They would just be called different names, right? So yeah, just wanted to make sure this doesn't throw you off. These are less commonly used, so you'll see C sharp less often than D flat, etc. Jerry says his Sibelius won't open because it's missing an alchemy folder. I don't know. I've never heard of the alchemy folder. I have no idea. A lot of times the Sibelius issues can be resolved by going to the Avid website and checking for updates, software updates. I have no idea what the alchemy folder is though. If you're just opening Sibelius for the purpose of playing along, you can also just open Logic. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm running my sound. I've got just a blank Logic session open. Create a new instrument using this plus sign. Make sure it's a software instrument, right? And once you've got that new instrument, you go to the in and out box here. I'm using the EXS24 sampler, which has a really good piano sound. You go into this box, go down to acoustic pianos, and I like the Steinway grand piano. That'll give you a nice, clean piano sound. And just, hit the record button there. And if you've got your MIDI keyboard plugged in, it should play a piano sound for you. Okay? So cool. All right, cool. So let's get back to intervals. Does anyone have any other questions about the circle of fifths, how to make a major scale, or anything like that?
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Any questions? This is a great time to ask questions because it's not a lecture. I'm here to answer your questions and just drill these topics as much as possible. So don't be shy. If you feel lost about something, please speak up. Cool. So, oh geez, this stupid keyboard.
Professor, another program he can open up, GarageBand works perfectly.
GarageBand works just fine too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Someone said something, but I couldn't really hear you. It sounded like you were far away.
I think he's talking to somebody else about the program.
I said I have problems with just identifying the intervals.
Okay, yeah. So let's go over that. Jerry said, "How are we able to see the students' video?" Oh, okay. You mean you can only see my webcam or something like that? Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure. If there's a
I can see Marcus and Professor here.
yeah, okay, and Martel just popped up. Yeah. So there's a webcam drop-down menu. If you click your go-to training control panel up here, there should be a webcam thing. Yeah. So y'all are welcome to share your webcams. You don't have to if you don't feel comfortable with it. But yeah. So let's talk about identifying intervals, and let's do it using the major scale as a reference. So what I would like for you to open next is the interval ID chart that I included in the materials box tonight. Let me go ahead and open it on my end. I find this really, I think it's pretty useful. So it looks like this. and I'll kind of show you how to use this. And something that I'm still tweaking. I made it a couple months ago, but I think it works pretty well. So right here you've got a row of dots, okay? Each of these dots represents a note. So if you've got an interval is just 2 notes, right? Well, an interval is the distance between 2 notes. So let's use the example we were using earlier. Let's say your interval is E flat up to B flat. And it's important that I'm specifying E flat up to B flat, right? Because if I just said E flat and B flat, I could mean E flat down to B flat, right? So the direction that the interval is going is important. I'm going to quit Sibelius and open it up again because I want to try to make my keyboard more visible.
Quick question.
Yes.
Earlier I asked a question for the D major scale. Would A be the perfect fifth?
Oh, I'm sorry I missed your question. I saw it and I forgot to answer it. Okay, so that's a really important point. That's a point of confusion for a lot of people. It's the fifth of the scale. It's the 5th scale degree, the 5th note in the scale. But we wouldn't call it the perfect fifth of the scale. A perfect fifth is just a name for a specific interval between 2 notes.
Right.
So you could say that A is a perfect fifth above D, and you could also say that A is the 5th in the D major scale. Does that make sense? Those are 2 different things.
Right. Right. But the way that I would be able to figure it out would be that because there's 5 different letter notes.
Yeah.
Meaning like D, E, F sharp, G, and then A.
Yes, exactly.
So even if I went from the E major, then in the E major, then B would be the perfect fifth from E.
Yes, you're exactly on the right track, and that's exactly what I'm getting at right now. So if we take yeah, thanks for bringing it up. So I'm gonna try to make this keyboard as visible as possible. Hopefully y'all can see it okay. So yeah, you're exactly on the right track. 1 second. Okay, cool. Hopefully
So
you
then
can
as long
see
as
me.
you know,
Oh, go ahead.
as long as you know how many letters make up each, the 4th or the 5th or the 6th, then you can kind of figure it out, unless you have to, account for whether it's diminished or augmented or, major or minor.
Yeah.
That would be a quick way of figuring it out instead of using the half step method.
Yeah, this is going to be a much quicker way to figure it out. We're going to refer to we're going to refer to a major scale and get really familiar with all the intervals that we can find in the major scale first. Okay, so let's pull up this chart again. Let's say I wanted to know the interval between E flat and the B flat above E flat. Here's what I would do. You could even print this out and do this by hand, but I would kind of, use my imagination to plug in the notes of an E flat major scale into these orange, right next to these orange boxes. The orange dots represents the notes in a major scale. And so the first thing you do, if you've got E flat up to B flat, that's your interval, and you're trying to identify what it is, what to call it. You're going to take the lowest note of the interval. You only got 2 notes. Just take the lower one. In this case, it's E flat. Plug it into the bottom. Okay? Then you're going to plug in the notes of a major scale built on that note. Okay? So if the lowest note is an E flat, you're going to quickly build, as quickly as you can, build an E flat major scale. So I use the circle of fifths to figure out an E flat major scale. I'm going to plug in the other notes. The second note in the scale would be an F. So I'm going to put that there. The third note would be a G. The fourth note would be an A flat. The fifth note would be a B flat. and I could keep going. C, D, E flat. Okay? So here are the two notes in my interval that someone, say someone asked me to identify this. Hey, Levon, you didn't miss too much. We're talking about identifying intervals. Welcome to the lab. So the two notes in my interval are E flat and B flat, and here they are, and they fit right in the E flat major scale. That makes it really easy to identify this interval. The root, the interval between the root and the fifth of any major scale is what we call a perfect fifth, okay? Let's say my two notes were E flat and G. E flat to G would be a major third, right? E flat up to G, that's a major third. Okay, but what if my interval was E flat to, let's say it was E flat to F sharp, or let's say E flat to G flat, E flat to G flat. Okay, so G flat isn't in here, and Marcus says he can't get his oxygen to play in GarageBand either. I don't know why. You won't need to use your keyboard too much during this lab session, but if you want to hang out after this, we can try to figure it out. Cool. And Levon said he is muted. You can unmute yourself if you want, Levon, or you can mute yourself. Or keep yourself muted using Shift Command M. So Jerry answered the question correctly. Minor third. The question was, what's the interval between an E flat and a G flat? That would be a minor third. The first thing we want to do is think about the closest interval that is in the major scale. So E flat to G would be a major third that falls in the E flat major scale. But what we just did was make that interval a little bit smaller.
Now, why wouldn't it be a diminished third also?
Okay, diminished is only used to refer to if we take a perfect fifth and lower it by and shrink it by a half step, then that becomes a diminished fifth. That's the only time we use diminished to describe an interval. And the only time we use augmented to describe an interval is if we increase the size of a fourth from a perfect fourth.
Now, does that just pertain to the major scale?
We're just using the major scale as a reference. The intervals themselves are really just two notes. Kind of think of them as two notes in space. They could be as part of a melody. They could be, part of a chord. So just because you've got an E flat and a B flat, for example, doesn't even mean you're working in the key of E flat. We're just referring to the E flat major scale to quickly figure out what that interval is called.
Well, the question I've tried to be more specific,
Yeah.
could I ever have a diminished third?
No.
Okay,
Well,
all right.
Well, yes. Yes, you can. Yeah, you can. But you won't find that very often. So I don't want to get too far into it because I don't want to confuse anyone. But okay, so when you're naming an interval, let's start from scratch. Let's do a totally new one. The first thing you want to figure out was what we call the interval number, and that is just you can figure out the interval number just by counting letter names. So let's say our interval was now, let's say we had A to F, A up to F. Okay, it's a totally new interval. Let me draw it up here. A to F. Those are our two notes. So we need to figure out the interval between A and F. First thing I would recommend doing is naming the interval number first. So first we figure out the interval number, then the interval quality. The interval number is really easy to figure out. You just count the letter names between the two notes. So if your lowest note is an A, highest note is an F, you're going to go A, that's 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, and F is 6. So we know it's some kind of sixth, right? There are two kinds of sixths that we have that we could name this. It's either a major sixth or a minor sixth, but we don't know yet. So the first thing we want to do, well, this is the second thing we want to do, is plug in A as the lowest note of our interval. See where it says lowest note of any interval. Then we're going to build an A major scale next to all the other orange dots. So who knows what the accidentals in an A major scale are? Let's look at the circle of fifths again. So to figure out the notes in an A major scale, we look here.
It's 3 sharps.
Yeah, we got 3 sharps. And now what 3 sharps are they?
C sharp, F sharp, G sharp.
Right, right. Or just these first 3, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp right here. Good. Okay, so we keep those in mind, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. So I'm going to plug in A. That's the lowest note of my interval. So the second note of the A major scale would be a B. Third note would be what? What would be the third note of an A major scale?
C sharp.
C sharp.
Right, C sharp. What would be the fourth note of an A major scale?
D.
D. Fifth note.
E,
E.
E is the 5th scale degree of the A major scale. What about the 6th?
F sharp.
F sharp.
F sharp, good. Just plug it in.
Oh, so the answer would be different.
Yeah.
G sharp.
Yeah, G sharp is the 7th, and then we arrive back at A. That's a whole A major scale there.
That's all.
So our interval was A to F.
So it's
So it would be a minor sixth.
minor sixth.
Right, right, exactly. So the first thing we figured out was the interval number, right? That's really important. A, B, C, D, E, F. That's some kind of sixth. We just see, okay, is this note in the major scale built on this note? No, it's not. It's a half step lower than that, so that would be a minor sixth, right? Okay. Any questions so far? We'll do a few more examples of this. So basically, we had if we make an A major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, we play from the root to the 6th of that scale, the 6th scale degree. That's A to F sharp. That's a major sixth. What we did was we decreased the size of that interval by a half step. So instead of this distance, we have this distance. This isn't in the A major scale. So instead of a major sixth, we have a minor sixth. Okay? Now, I forget who asked the question about a diminished third or a diminished sixth or whatever. You don't encounter those very often, but let's say I had A to F flat, for example, which could happen. Now, you don't see F flat very often. Why is that? We don't see this. Where's my keypad? Does anyone know? What's kind of odd about an F flat? And it's highlighted on the keyboard here. Would you
It's an E.
Right, it's an E. You wouldn't normally call this note an F flat, right? But in some cases it could happen. In rare cases. But yeah, F flat is just another name for E natural. It's an enharmonic. So if we had A to F flat, and we were calling that F flat rather than E, notice that the interval number would actually still be the same. A, B, C, D, E, F, right? The interval number is still a sixth. We would actually call that a diminished sixth. Does that kind of make sense? You're not going to need to know that interval for this class at all. The diminished sixth. We're not even going to mention that.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. But just to answer your question, I can't remember who it was. I apologize. But yeah, so sometimes you could have a diminished third, diminished sixth. But really, more commonly, you're going to be dealing with these intervals. Because, A to F flat would typically be called A to E, which would be just a perfect fifth, right? It'd be A. E is the fifth note in the A major scale, so we'd call that a perfect fifth above A.
So then that really shows the importance of figuring out that number.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up because that really is the very first step you should take. Figure out the interval number, then figure out what we call the interval quality. The quality is perfect major or minor or diminished or augmented. So let's do another example just to make sure everyone's cool with this. Okay, what if I had? Let me play it on the keyboard so you know see what notes I'm working with here. Okay, what if we had E to C, and notice where they are. E, C. Okay. So first of all, let's figure out the interval number. What's the interval number between E and C?
Six.
3.
Okay, so I got two answers, a sixth and a third, and that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping to hear both of those answers. Okay, it's not a sixth, and here's where you went wrong. A very common mistake, which is why I wanted to do it. Notice that this is E going down to C. So to figure out the interval number, you want to actually count from the lowest note of the interval.
Oh, descending. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why it's really important. So be careful about that.
Okay.
So
you would pick off you would pick up where that note interval starts up to the end of where you count to.
no matter what, you're always going to have two notes. The interval is going to be either ascending or descending, or happening simultaneously. You could have these two notes occurring harmonically together, right, like this, right? Regardless of what order these two notes appear in, if you're trying to figure out the interval, you take the lowest note, the lower of the two notes, and count up to the higher one. All right, always make sure you're doing that. So C to E, you go C, D, E. Even though it was E going down to C, we're going to take the lower note, right? C up to E, right? Okay, cool. So C, D, E, we know it's some kind of third, right? Simple enough. All right, if we go into our chart here, start plugging in the C major scale. The C major scale, as you should know, has no flats and no sharps, right? So it's all natural notes. So that should be pretty easy. C, D, E.
So it would be a major third.
Right, and I don't even need to fill in the rest, right? Because we've got C up to E. Yeah, so E is the third in the C major scale. It's a major third, right? Cool. Let's do just a couple more. Okay. Let me know if anyone missed that, or if anyone doesn't understand how we got to that answer. Cool. So let's do. Let's do. Actually, do this. Okay. What are these two notes? Instead of me just telling you what they are, what two notes do we have here? See how your note reading is. Here, let me move them up an octave. Here.
Those lines throw me off.
Yeah, the ledger lines, yeah.
G and C.
Almost.
Oh, and B. G
G
and
and
B.
B.
G and B.
Okay. You're close. This is a G. This is not
Oh,
a
B flat.
B flat.
Left me last Saturday.
Yeah, be really careful. Yeah, this is a B flat. That's gonna make a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Accidental.
Yeah, that's gonna make a huge difference. That's extremely important, right? So G to B flat. Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna take the lower of the two notes and count up to the higher one to figure out the interval number. What's the interval number here?
3, a third.
Yeah, it's another third, right? G
Whoa.
A B. Right.
Go ahead.
So,
just leave it
minor
alone.
third.
Someone said something. What?
Minor third.
Okay, you're right, but let's get there one step at a time. So we know it's a third. What we do is plug in the G major scale. We build a major scale from the lower of the two notes. So we're going to put G here. The next letter in the G major scale is A. The G major scale, by the way, has one sharp, which is F sharp. Okay, we get G, A, B. Okay, so I've gotten to the letter name that I need, right? We've got G and B flat. So I see a B, right? But, so B flat isn't in here. So what would this interval be? G up to B flat. If it's not a major third, it's not G to B, what is it?
Minor third.
Yeah, it's a minor third.
Minor
So,
third.
right. The B flat would be sitting right here, right? Cool. Great. Okay, let's do another
So
one.
I have a question.
Yes.
So every time it has an accidental, does that mean it's minor?
No. Let's do an example where that's not the case. Yeah, good question. Okay, let's do.
You have to figure out the notes in the scale, and then if it's not in the scale, then that'll tell you whether it's going to be minor or major, depending.
Yeah, exactly. So let's take think of an example.
Are the numbers called the quality, or what are they called?
The number is called the number, and the qualities are the perfect, major, minor, augmented, diminished.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say we had B flat. Let's say we had these two notes. Okay, what are these two notes?
B flat and F.
Yeah, B flat and F. Okay, what's the interval number? Okay, someone said 4, someone said 5, Brittany said 5, Martel said 4. So it's either a fourth or a fifth, right? Yeah, let's figure out which one it is. So be careful, I think.
You have to take the lowest number.
Right, the lowest note. So I think some of you may have gone B, C, D, E, F and come up with a fifth, but that'll throw you off if you do that. So take the lowest note, F, and then count up to B, right?
Gotcha.
So F, G, A, B. So it's some kind of fourth. F, G, A, B. Some kind of fourth. Now we need to figure out what the interval quality is. We know the number. What's the quality? So F to B flat. So same deal. We're going to look at the circle of fifths, look at the key of F, because F's our lowest note. Okay, the F major key, the key of F major has one flat. We take the first flat in the order of flats. It's B flat. So the F major scale is, Martel asked, lowest on the staff? Yeah, lowest on the staff. Lowest in sound, just the lower of the two notes. You know, if you've got an interval, you got two notes, take the lower one. The lower sounding one, the lowest one on the staff. Same thing. Does that answer your question?
And because you're counting from the lowest one will always be the scale.
Yeah, and we're just using the scale as a tool. I don't want you to think that just because you've got these two notes, these notes could appear anywhere in like the middle of a song, and you can just take them out, and you wanna tell someone what that interval is. That, you know, it doesn't mean that the key you're in is the lowest note, is built on the lowest note. You know what I mean? We're just using that as a tool to figure it out. That's all. So it doesn't mean, so these notes could appear in virtually any key.
Any
scale.
Yeah,
in any scale. Like they could be part of the B flat major scale, right? If I play the B flat major scale, okay, here's the F and the B flat right there. So we could be in B flat, we could be in F, we could be in several different keys. We're only using the scale as a tool. Just
right, but no matter
quickly.
what scale you're in, we're going to use this method to figure out the quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Good way to word it. Yeah. So and we're just going to briefly build this scale as a point of reference. So the scale we're going to build is the F major scale. Right, so we're going to go here, build the scale F. So the F major scale only has one flat, that's B flat. So our scale is F, G, A.
B flat.
B flat, right. Okay. So our two notes were
Perfect 4.
F and B flat, right? And so if we, oops, if we look here, we actually got a perfect fourth, right? So here's one example where the top note is an accidental, but it's not a minor interval or diminished interval. It's actually a perfect interval. It occurs right in the scale. Okay, so it really has nothing to do with whether don't think that just because one of the notes is flat that it's minor. A lot of people kind of relate those two things, like flats and minors, or sharps and majors, or whatever. They really have nothing to do with each other, right? A B flat, the note of B flat is just a B flat. It could appear in a major key, a minor key. It could appear in a major chord or a minor chord, a diminished chord. Okay, so let's do a couple more examples. What if we had B natural and F? So what's the interval number here? B natural and F natural. Yeah, it's still a fourth, right? F, G, A, B.
Still the same.
Right, so it's still a fourth. Okay, let's figure out the interval quality. So again, we build the F major scale because that's the lower of the two notes. F, G, A. Sorry, this doesn't look pretty when I'm writing this. I'm using my mouse. Okay, the next note in the scale would be B flat. Then the next note would be a C. And yeah, so someone said it. This is an augmented fourth. The B natural would go, whoops, where's my, B natural goes right here. Right. So we know it's an augmented fourth because it's a half step larger than a perfect fourth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know it's not a diminished fifth because we've counted the interval number first. We know it's some kind of fourth, right? Is this making sense to everyone so far?
Perfect.
Okay.
So if it was a C flat, would that be a diminished fifth?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So the letter really matters when we're naming an interval, right? Cool. So yeah, you'll have a lot of opportunities to start practicing with these. Now, what's really more important than being able to do this? This is really important. You want to be solid with this process, and you'll get better at it. And what's nice about this is, like, when you're really familiar with your major scales, you can really quickly name an interval because you can think of that major scale very quickly. So when someone says or when I'm looking at a piece of music and I see D flat to F, well, I know right away that's a major third because I'm familiar with the D flat major scale. You know what I mean? Because I know that F is the major third above D flat. It's the third of the scale. So if you've done this a lot, and if you really get familiar with the notes in all your scales, you'll be able to name intervals very, very quickly, and it won't be a thing. It won't be like this process, this drawn-out process, right? Okay, so any questions about this whole deal? Okay, because what I really want to focus on tonight is actually recognizing intervals by ear. That's actually a little bit more important.
Part.
What's that?
The hardest thing ever.
Okay, yeah. It's not easy if you've never done it before, but we're going to try to give you as many tools as we can to help you get there. It's going to take practice, that's for sure. Because you're going to be developing a part of your brain that you probably never used before. All right? So, okay, so when I say identifying an interval by ear, does anyone already have any tricks for doing that? Let's say I played this interval. And I'm not telling you what notes they are. I'm just expecting you to hear that and name the interval. Using one of these names, but not knowing what notes I'm actually playing. Anyone have any tricks? Anything that they do already? Especially if you've ever been in chorus or done any kind of vocal stuff, you probably already have a bag of tricks, but most people in here are probably not one of those people. Okay. So the method that a couple methods we strongly recommend are what we call the familiar song method and um, the scale method, I guess you could call it, referring to the sounds in a scale. So if I heard this interval, one thing I might do is try to sing up a major scale and try to find that note, see if that note's in the scale. Da da, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I found that it was, the fourth scale degree of a major scale. But this might not even, I might play an interval that's outside of the major scale. What I really recommend, what's most useful for me and most other people, is trying to refer to a familiar song. Okay, so the interval I'm playing is a perfect fourth, and by far the most popular song to refer to recognize that interval is Here Comes the Bride. You hear it? Here comes the bride, da 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 da. Yeah, so you want to associate every interval with a familiar song or a familiar sound that you've heard all your life. Not something really cool, not something really complicated, something simple that you've heard a million times. That's the whole point, okay? So I've got a list of familiar songs that I recommend, and I've started to add to it, but this is in the Lab 1 whiteboard that's on the Materials tab tonight. We'll go over these first. These are all the intervals found from the root up to another note in a major scale. So let's go over all of these, and what we need you to do this week, like starting right away, is to make your own list of familiar songs and familiar sounds to use to relate to each of these intervals, okay? So a perfect unison, or P1, that's really the easiest one. Everyone should be able to hear that, hopefully. So if I play two of the same note in a row, hopefully you can tell that I just played two of the same note, that I didn't play two different notes. Does anyone have a problem with that? Did anyone hear two different notes there? Okay. Martel said nope. Okay. If that's something you need to work on, sit on your keyboard and play one note over and over again until you can tell that it's the same note. Okay. Okay. But here's where we get into this is where it gets a little trickier. So a major second, I usually refer to the first two notes of Happy Birthday, or really the second and third notes of Happy Birthday. Da 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 da. Happy birthday. That interval is a major second. Okay? So when you hear a major second, starting on any note, it should hopefully remind you of that tune. I could play it anywhere. Who can name two notes that make up a major second? Just start on any note, go up a major second, and tell me what two notes you got. G to A, perfect. So if I played that, when I just play it alone, can you imagine? Happy birthday, da 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 da. Right? Marcus said C to D. So when I hear that, I can think happy birthday. Right? Everyone get what I'm doing here? We're just relating this sound, the sound of this particular interval, to a familiar song that you've sung a million times. Okay? Cool. What else does this sound like? Does anyone know? Does this remind anyone of anything else? It could be a song, or it could be part of a song, or something, some musical element that you've heard several times. I'll give you a hint. It's written right here. Oh, Martel said it sounds like she'll be coming around the mountain. Sure. she'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Yeah, that works. Cool. So if you want to use that, when you hear that, it sounds like she'll be coming around the mountain, perfect. That's great. Use whatever that interval reminds you of. What about the first and second note of a major scale? If you're really familiar with the sound of a major scale, this should remind you of the first two notes of that major scale, of any major scale. Da, da, na, 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 right? No matter where I start it. That should sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Okay, how about a major third? Here's the ones I recommend. The first and second notes of When the Saints Go Marching In. So you can find all these intervals just by taking a major scale, right, and play the root and the third to find a major third. So when you hear that, can you imagine when the saints, oh when, that's a major third. What else could that sound like? Anyone know? Does that remind anyone else of any other songs or sounds? I'll suggest a couple. How about the first and second notes of Kumbaya? Kumbaya, my Lord. Can you hear it? Kumbaya. Or, if you played them descending, they could sound like the first and second notes of Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, da da. Okay? Those are all examples of major thirds found in simple melodies that you've heard a lot. Or, some people say it sounds like a doorbell chime. Ding dong, right? Or, it should really remind you of the root and third of a major triad. If you just played a major triad, 1, 3, 5, between 1 and 3, that's a major third. Okay? So those are just a couple ideas. You're free to come up with your own. As I mentioned earlier, perfect fourth sounds like the first and second notes of Here Comes the Bride. Here comes the bride, da 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 da, right? And again, I could play it starting on any note, right? Here comes the bride. Doesn't matter what note I'm starting on. If I go a perfect fourth above that note, it should sound like the first two notes of Here Comes the Bride. For perfect fifth, I like to use the first two notes of Twinkle, Twinkle, well, the second and third notes of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So that should remind you of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Perfect fifth. Da, da. Or, if I played it descending, let me mark that here. It could sound like the Flintstones theme. Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay? For a major sixth, this is, you could find this between the root and the sixth of a major scale. The first two notes of this song, not everyone is familiar with this song, but tell me if you are. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. Everyone heard that one? Okay, so as long as the most important thing is you need to be familiar with this song in order to use it. If that song is not familiar to you, if you've never heard it, never sung it, it's not going to be much use to you. It's whatever this sound reminds you of. Okay, what about this sound? Is everyone familiar with that sound right there?
NBC.
Yeah, NBC. It's the NBC theme, or whatever you call it, chime, right? The first two notes of that, that's a major sixth. So far we've gotten up to major sixth. Let me just give you some context of what I'm doing here. If I played this all in C, starting on C, I could find all these intervals that I'm talking about in the key of C major. So a major second would be from the root to the second. Major third would be from the root to the third. perfect fourth would be from the root to the fourth of a major scale. Perfect fifth would be from the root to the fifth of a major scale. A major sixth would be from the root to the sixth of a major scale. What would we call the interval between the root and the seventh of a major scale? What would we call that? Right, a major seventh. And what about from the root to the octave? What would we call that? Good. A P8 or perfect octave, right? So it's just important to know, this is just something you got to memorize. What I just did was from the root to a major scale up to the second, up to the third, the fourth, fifth. Just make sure you know which ones are called majors, which ones are called perfects. That's something that you just want to memorize. Okay, so let's keep going through the list real quick. A major seventh, the one I like to use is the big leap in the Superman theme. Okay, so Superman theme is pretty long, and I forget it a lot, frankly. It's something... I always confuse it with the Star Wars theme because it's so similar. Well, anyway, there's a part where it goes... Does that remind you? Does anyone recognize that? So that big leap, a leap meaning a large interval. This is Superman, not Star Trek. That's a pretty large interval. That's a major seventh, and you can find that in the Superman theme. Also, if you've ever heard the song "Take on Me" by a-ha, 80s hit, he goes, "Take on me," in the chorus of the song. Is anyone familiar with that one? He's going from A to G sharp, and that's a major seventh right there, right? You could think of the A major scale. There's the seventh, that's a major seventh. And then he goes up to the A, the octave. Yeah.
The Simpsons.
Thought the bar sounds like we're difficult. It disappointed me a little, but then I went in with more managed expectations, and my second viewing I liked it more. Mark Strong,
Okay, sorry I had to mute you, Brandon, but there was a loud voice coming out of your mic. Okay, someone mentioned The Simpsons. That might kind of sound like the Simpsons theme. That's actually a different interval. So it's easy to confuse some of these intervals with each other. And someone else is making a lot of noise. Okay, it's quieted down. Okay, so we went over all these intervals that you can find from the root to another note in a major scale, right? So basically, you want to make your own list for all these intervals. Let me look at one thing real quick, because we're going to just drill some of these in a second.
Now, how do you kind of come up with your own list if you don't, if you don't readily have songs that you know that contain that?
Here's what you should do. I was looking at the Superman theme earlier. Go to the FSO dashboard for this class, or you can open up the helpful links document that I put in the materials folder. But let me show you where we've got a couple of links. Give me 1 second. I'll show you exactly where to go. So there's a great website. And thank you for asking that. That was a great question. You are free to use the suggestions I just provided. But what would be better for you to come up with your own personalized list of familiar songs would be to go to FSO dashboard for this class. Looks something like this, right? And where are we? Right here, Interval Study Guide Playlists, right under the announcements. We've got a lot of useful stuff in the announcement section as well as in the references section. The one I would probably recommend using is the earmaster.com website. Both of these basically do the same thing, but this one's really good. The second link here, what this does is it gives you every interval within an octave, minor, second through perfect octave, and it gives you several options, several examples of songs that contain that interval, both ascending and descending. All right, so for example, let's go ahead and make a list real quick. We haven't gotten to a minor second yet. A minor second is the same thing as a half step. Classic example people refer to for that one is the Jaws theme. Right? Everyone familiar with that one? If that one's not very familiar to you, use one of the other ones. We got the Pink Panther theme. Right? First two notes of that are a minor second, ascending minor second. A lot of good examples. Isn't She Lovely? Isn't she lovely? Or I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. I don't know what key it's in, but I'm dreaming. Right? Any of these examples, whatever is familiar to you, or a descending minor second. I hear a lot of noise coming from someone. It sounds like shuffling papers. So if whoever that is, if you wouldn't mind muting yourself, that would be great. Can't tell who it is. Thank you. So, a descending minor second. I like to use Joy to the World. First two notes of that. It's a descending minor second. Let me know if anyone's got any questions while I'm going through these. So let's say I used White Christmas for ascending minor second, Joy to the World for descending minor second. That's beautiful. Those are great examples. Major second, I already mentioned Happy Birthday. I'll use that one. For a descending major second, Mary Had a Little Lamb is great. First two notes of that. Da, 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 da. That's a descending major second. Okay. For a minor third, we haven't talked about what we could use for a minor third. I like to use Green Sleeves. Or it's also called What Child Is This? What child? Da, 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 da. That's a minor third right there. Or another good one is Lullaby, the Brahms Lullaby. The words are like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, little baby, right? Another minor third. I'll go with Green Sleeves for an ascending minor third. Descending minor third. I'll do This Old Man. You know, I like to use the children's songs because those are the ones you probably heard your whole life, literally your whole life, right? So, this old man, he played one. That's a descending minor third. Okay? For an ascending major third, I like Kumbaya. Kumbaya. For a descending major third, I like Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Swing low. Or Summertime's good. Summertime. Da, 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 da. Swing Low is a good one. For an ascending perfect fourth, I already mentioned Here Comes the Bride, the Wedding March. Some people like Amazing Grace, We Wish You a Merry Christmas, dun dun. A lot of them. Oh, Christmas Tree, there's a ton of them you can choose from. And all of these have YouTube links. A descending perfect fourth, between the second and third notes of O Come All You Faithful. O come all, dun dun. Or I've Been Working on the Railroad, I've been. Perfect fourth. Descending perfect fourth. I'll do O Come All You Faithful. Okay, tritone. A tritone is that crazy sounding interval that's called could be called an augmented fourth or diminished fifth that we talked about a little bit earlier. Right? So if we took the root and fifth of a major scale, let's say a G major scale, and we decrease the size of that interval by a half step by lowering the top note, we've got a tritone, right? Tritone is a general name for an augmented fourth or diminished fifth. So depending on what we're calling this note, if it were a C sharp, we'd call it an augmented fourth. If it was a D flat, we call it a diminished fifth, right? It's a pretty distinctive sounding interval, and someone mentioned the Simpsons theme earlier. This is actually that interval, the Simpsons theme. The Simpsons. Da, da. That's a tritone right there. Augmented fourth or diminished fifth. It also appears in this song Maria from the West Side Story. Maria, da 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 da. But first two notes there, da da. Descending tritone. These might not be too familiar to you, but it's a pretty distinctive interval. If you know it ascending, you should be able to flip it around and recognize it descending as well. Perfect fifth, I like to use Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, as I mentioned earlier. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, dun dun, that's a perfect fifth. Or descending perfect fifth, Flintstones theme. Okay, minor sixth, we haven't hit this one yet. If you're familiar with this one, it might be a good one. Does anyone know that one? When Israel was in Egypt's land. The first two notes of that. Another one people use is that song by I forget who did it. It was Lil Jon and Usher and Ludacris.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, how does it? It's like I forget what order the notes come in and all that, but it contains a minor six. It goes like it's either up a perfect fifth and then up a minor sixth, or vice versa. It might go. I can't remember, but it's in there somewhere. So if you're familiar with that riff, and when you hear that interval, if it reminds you of that song, it's up then down. And then I think it's backwards, right? I don't know. It doesn't matter. If that interval, if when you hear a minor six, it reminds you of that song, cool. Whatever helps you remember the sound of that interval. Whoa. All right, cool. So, yeah, so that's a minor six. Major six. I mentioned My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. Sorry. There's a major sixth. Hush Little Baby, don't say a word, whatever it's called, however it goes. My Way by Frank Sinatra. And now the time has come, or whatever however it goes. It came upon a midnight clear, dun dun. A lot of examples here. A descending major sixth. Nobody knows. You heard that one? Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. There's some other ones. A lot of these I'm not even familiar with, so I'm just using the ones that I know. I know I'm familiar with that song. A minor seventh. This is where it gets a little trickier. Oh, you know what? The minor seventh is actually in that Yeah song. I was wrong. I was playing the riff wrong. I knew it didn't sound right. So, sure. I don't know if it's in there. No, I don't think it's. I'm not sure where it's happening in that song. The one I would probably recommend is if you check out the Star Wars theme, it does something like this. I don't know the exact notes of it, but minor seventh, here's how I think of a minor seventh. I think of an octave first, and then I go down a whole step from the octave. Okay, so come up with a song that's familiar to you to recognize that interval. Then, major seventh, I mentioned Take On Me. Doesn't have Superman theme on here, but I like the Superman theme as well. And for an octave, the classic example is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Sorry. Da, 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 somewhere. Hopefully you're familiar with that. You could choose I'm Singing in the Rain, Let It Snow. I can't think of how that goes. Those are the best ones. Somewhere Over the Rainbow is probably the best. Okay, descending octave occurs in this song. Willow, weep for me. Da, 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 da. Okay, and then you click this button, and it generates a list for you, so you can study these. Okay. All right, so now we're like almost an hour and a half into the lab session. What I want to do now is just drill these intervals and see how we do. You may have only just now come up with your list. You might be making it as you go. Wherever you're at in that process, make sure you have a list by the end of tonight so you can use it, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to open up Aurelia. This is where you're going to be doing all your most of your listening tests this month. And you want to make sure you practice in it a whole lot. And we are going to practice the topic that will prepare you for listening assignment 1, which is due, I think, tomorrow night at midnight, right? So we're going to do interval recognition level 1, and this is only going to involve unisons, fourths, fifths, and octaves. That might be too easy. Yeah, let's do it. Let's try it out. Let's see how we do with this. This one should be pretty easy, and then it'll get a little tougher after that. So let me know if you can hear it okay. So in Aurelia, use this replay button as much as you need, to listen to it over and over again. And when you hear this interval, think about what it reminds you of. It should remind you of a familiar song that we were just talking about, or a familiar musical element, part of a scale, part of a triad, something like that. And I'll refresh your memory as we go through these. But let's listen to this, see if anyone can identify it, and if you can identify the interval, tell me what it reminded you of. What did you use as a reference? So our choices are unison, which would be two of the same
I hear
note.
Here Comes the Bride, but I don't remember the...
Okay, Marcus said I heard Here Comes the Bride. Da, da, here comes the bride, all dressed
I just
in
don't
white.
remember what it is, the interval.
Oh, okay, yeah, so yeah, it might remind you something, but you don't know which one it is, right?
Yeah.
Right. If you download the...
Yeah, the whiteboard notes?
Yeah,
Just do.
that at least has all the ones within a major scale, which will contain all of these. So yeah, you're right. It's the Here Comes the Bride interval, otherwise known as the perfect fourth. So
Yeah,
really good. Yeah,
that's it.
Cool. You could also think of a major scale starting from that lower note. La. If you can match it with your voice, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the fourth note of a major scale. So that's a perfect fourth. Did anyone else hear that? Can you hear Here Comes the Bride when you hear this interval? Great. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was a perfect fourth. To refresh everyone's memory, perfect fifth. Who can remember what song we could use for a perfect fifth? Or at least the one that is probably most
Twinkle,
popular.
Twinkle.
Yeah, Twinkle Twinkle. So if that had started on the same note but went up a perfect fifth, it would have gone da da dun 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 dun. Perfect fifth, Twinkle Twinkle. And then perfect octave, what song could we reference for perfect octave?
Wizard of Oz, Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Somewhere. So I'm just demonstrating all these intervals starting on that same note. Let's do another one. Okay, what's this
Unison.
one? Unison. That should be pretty easy. Okay. So a lot of people tend to confuse perfect fourths and perfect fifths. Try both of those familiar songs, Here Comes the Bride and Twinkle Twinkle. If you're not sure, see which one sounds most correct. Try to sing it to these notes.
4.
Did I hear an answer?
I said perfect fourth.
Okay. I'm hearing that. Anyone else have anything different? Here comes the bride, da 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 da. Yeah, perfect fourth. So just P4, perfect fourth. Good. Next one. Somewhere.
Perfect eighth octave.
Yeah, this is a perfect octave. Somewhere, dum dum. Remember that an octave is two of the same note, an octave apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Perfect octave. P8. Cool.
Same.
Yeah, another perfect octave. And if anyone disagrees, if anyone has a different answer, please let me know. This is the best place to give wrong answers, to make mistakes. It's the only way you'll learn, the only way I can help you. So don't be afraid to blurt out the answer that you're not sure of. The more people we have participating, the better. We can learn from each other. Okay?
Same again.
What was that?
Same thing, the eighth part octave.
Okay. Anyone have any different answer?
So,
I'm not sure about the octave. It's actually not an octave, so let's eliminate that possibility. Let's try.
yeah.
Okay, someone said a minor 6. Not a minor 6. Actually, that's not even one of the choices right now. Okay, Frank said perfect 5th.
Yeah, I was going to say fifth as well.
Yeah. So that reminds me
I
of...
think I'm hearing the twinkle, twinkle in there.
Yeah, it's definitely got a little bit of twinkle, twinkle in there. La, la, twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good. Cool. Yeah, and Frank figured out what the actual notes were. So Aurelia actually shows you the first note that you're hearing down here on the keyboard. So if you're really stuck and you need to find it on your keyboard, find that second note, and then figure it out in relation to the major scale built on the lower note, you could do that. The objective, though, is to first try to use your ear. Try to refer to a familiar sound or familiar song to find these. Because that's going to make you, if you can get really quick at that, hearing a perfect fifth and identifying it, you have no idea how useful that tool is, regardless of whether you're trying to be a musician, producer, composer, whatever. Being able to hear that and pick it out of the blue without having to figure it out on your keyboard is ideal. So don't go to your keyboard unless you absolutely need to, okay? Because it's going to be a longer process anyway. If you can train yourself to recognize these by ear, you're going to fly through these tests much quicker, So yeah, that was a perfect fifth. Let's try the next one.
That's the perfect octave?
Yes. Yeah, so everyone seems to agree, with a few people that gave me some answers. Yeah, this is a perfect octave. Somewhere. Notice I'm singing in falsetto to hit some of these notes. On a really quick side note, it's going to be really important for you to practice matching pitches with your voice in this class. So this week, all weekend, up and throughout the month, you need to be trying to match pitches with your voice. It could start with just playing a note on your keyboard and going la 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 la, try to find it. Sometimes I have to fish for notes because I'm not a singer, and I know most of you aren't singers. But it's really important to be able to match a pitch with your voice, and it's something that you can train yourself to do. On the useful links document that I put in the materials tab, there's a great website where you can practice matching pitches with your voice. Okay, and if you need any help with how to use it, contact your instructor, and we'll kind of help give you some strategies to get better at that. But notice this is what I'm doing when I'm hearing this la 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 la. I'm matching those pitches with my voice so I can better connect it to a song. La la, somewhere over the rainbow. I'm not trying to sound good, obviously, because I have a very limited range. I don't have great pitch. I'm not a singer. That's not the point. I'm using my voice as a tool only, right? So make sure you work on that. If you have trouble doing that, I understand. I was where you are not too long ago, but you can work on it and get better at it. And it's going to really be useful. So yeah, it was a perfect octave. Let's do just one more in this category.
Here comes the bride.
Beautiful. And that's exactly what I want to hear. When you hear that, right away you should think, here comes the bride. And you know, by association, that's a perfect fourth. Great. Cool. Let's go to the next level and see how we do. All right, so we're going to do level 2. We're going to be using the same intervals, but this time we're going to hear them both ascending and descending. Okay? It's going to be a little trickier. So let's talk about what we might hear. If we heard a perfect fourth descending, let's look at our list here. Perfect fourth descending. What I chose a few minutes ago was, "O come all ye faithful." O come all. Or if you heard that interval, if you can match those pitches and just flip them around, da da. Okay, I'm gonna sing the lower one.
What song sounds like?
Da da. What's that?
Downtown. You
Oh,
can
that's a good one.
always go downtown.
Beautiful. That's perfect. Perfect. Downtown. You're totally right. I'm gonna add that to my list. That's a great one. Thank you. I'd never thought of that one. But you might make those discoveries. Like you'll hear that interval a few times and you'll think, "Ah, that's this song." And you might want to, double check, but that's exactly right. Jerry says, if I own Earmaster 6, can you use that? Of course. Nothing's going to stop you. You still have to take the tests in Aurelia, but Earmaster is a great program too. Totally, you can use that. In fact, in my welcome letter, if you might not be in my section, so you might not have gotten this, but I recommend finding an app for your phone to practice outside of, when I know you're not home all the time, so you don't necessarily have access to Aurelia all the time. There's a great app called Perfect Ear. It's free. You can drill these intervals all day. Some people have Kaplan for iPad. I don't know what that is, but yeah, whatever. There's tons of ear training things you can use. So go for it. Yeah, go for it. So downtown. That's awesome.
What was the one you just recommended? What was it called?
Perfect Ear.
Perfect Ear.
Yeah, and there's other ones. That's the only one I've used, but it works great for me. Downtown. That's great. That really sticks out. That's a great example. Downtown. So that's descending. The more you practice these, the quicker it'll come. That's all it is. Just time and practice. So we might hear a descending perfect fourth. Downtown. Oh, come all. Or you could flip that interval around and think, here comes the bride. It's the same interval. It's just being played descending instead of ascending. Or we might hear a descending perfect fifth. So we could hear something like this. To me, that one sounds like Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. Some other ones, what did we choose here on this chart? I chose the Flintstones theme. Or again, you could just flip that interval around and go, dum dum, twinkle twinkle, same interval. A descending octave. I don't know. To me, an octave just stands out. I don't think I even chose a descending octave on this particular chart. But again, you should be able to flip it around. Da da. La la. Somewhere, somewhere. Right? So let's see how we do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and answer that one. That's unison. Okay, so we've got a descending interval right here. As everyone could tell, hopefully everyone could tell, that was this note going. What was it? This note.
Flintstones, I think.
Flintstones. Yeah. Pardon my terrible singing. Yeah, that was Flintstones theme. So what interval would that be? La la.
Perfect fifth.
Perfect fifth, right. Or we could have turned it around. Twinkle, twinkle. Cool. What about this one?
perfect fourth?
Not a perfect fourth. Andre and Rain. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Reynard or Reynard? First or second one. Frank said Superman. Yeah, it is in the Superman theme.
Yes, it's Reynard.
Reynard. Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is actually a perfect fifth. And again, if you said fourth, very easy to mix those up. Make sure you practice perfect fourth and perfect fifth a lot back to back using this drill here, interval recognition, level 1 and 2. Again, very easy. But let's say I thought it was a perfect fourth and I wanted to double check. I'm going to play it again. Da, da. I'm going to try singing Here Comes the Bride to that and listen to how it kind of gets screwy after I keep singing. Here comes the bride, all dressed in white. Does that sound a little off? A perfect fourth would actually be Here comes the bride, all dressed in white. You know what I mean? Yeah, and also you could check your answer. Okay, the first note it says
That
is a
sounds
B
like
flat.
ABCs.
Sounds like ABCs. Da da da. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A B.
A B C D E F G. Yeah. In fact, the melody to the ABC song is almost exactly the same as the melody to Twinkle Twinkle. A B C D E F G. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Also, Ba Ba Black Sheep. Have you any wool? same melodies. Yeah. Yeah. So. And that's what you'll start discovering when you start recognizing these intervals. You'll pick parts of songs out that say like, hey, sounds like that part sounds like this other song. They ripped this guy off or whatever. Okay, so yeah, so perfect fifth. Good. That was a perfect fifth. Cool. Okay, new one.
Perfect fourth.
Here comes the bride. Yep. That's a perfect fourth, okay? I'm going to start moving a little quicker so we can get to some more different intervals. It's just a taste. Okay, what's this one?
I don't want to be wrong.
I want you to be wrong. We need wrong answers. I love wrong answers. They're good for you. No, I don't want anyone to be afraid to be wrong. This is the place to be wrong. The place that you don't want to be wrong is when you're graduated and working with a professional musician and you hear this and you say, that sounds like a minor second. And they'll all look at you like you have no idea what you're doing. You know what I mean? So this is the place to be wrong. So we've got a few answers. We've got perfect eighths. I just heard someone say perfect fifth. So if those are our two answers so far, if anyone has any other ones, feel free to blurt them out. I'm going to try all of them and see which one sounds right, using the familiar song thing. So if I think that's a perfect fifth, I'm going to try singing Twinkle Twinkle along with that. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. It kind of works, but that's a really big leap for the first two notes of Twinkle Twinkle. Twinkle, twinkle. Twinkle, twinkle is more like twinkle, twinkle, instead of twinkle, twinkle. Yeah. Let's try Somewhere Over the Rainbow instead if we think it might be an octave. Somewhere.
Yep.
Dum, dum. Great. So trial and error will hopefully get you there. If you spend a little time on these, you'll start really getting quick at them eventually. And again, I could look at the note down here. Okay, it's a C is the first note. If I think it might be an octave, I'll just play an octave above that. No, that's it. Just to make sure I'll play a perfect fifth above that. That's what a perfect fifth would sound like above that note. Okay, let's see which one it is. I'll play it again. So it's not a perfect fifth, it's a perfect octave. Okay. That way you can check your answers several times from several different ways and come up with the right answer. Cool. Hoping to get another descending interval. What is this one, though? See how quickly we can get this one.
Octave.
Brittany said octave, so I'll take the first answer. Yeah, this is another octave. Started on the same note. It's in a slightly higher range than the other one, but doesn't matter what note we start on, what range we're in. The distance is the interval is the interval. It's just the distance between the two notes. So that's another perfect octave. Okay, what about this one?
Octave, perfect octave.
Yeah. This is another perfect octave. Was this?
It's just descending.
Yes, exactly. This one was descending, right? So if I heard those two notes, I could just flip them around. Somewhere. It's just different order, descending. Cool.
Perfect fourth.
Okay, someone said perfect fourth. Reynard said perfect fifth. Anyone? Any other answers? I like a wide variety.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect fifth.
Okay. So if I thought it was a perfect fourth, I would try Here Comes the Bride, right? Here comes the bride, dun, 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 dun. Let me try Twinkle Twinkle instead. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Which one sounds more accurate? Here
Twinkle.
comes the bride, twinkle, twinkle. Yeah, it's actually Twinkle Twinkle. This is actually a perfect fifth. Again, perfect fourths and perfect fifths. They're not too far apart. Very easy to confuse. Here's what Here Comes the Bride would sound like. If this were a perfect fourth, start on the same note. Dun, here comes the bride. Dun, dun. Okay? Just to compare. So here's a perfect fifth. Twinkle, twinkle. That's what we heard. Here's a perfect fourth. Here comes the bride. Okay? Cool. So just, work on that. Play them on your keyboard a bunch to start hearing the difference. Okay, I'm going to exit out of this. Let's move on to the next level. We'll just go to, let's see. Oh, we didn't do level 3. Fourth, fifth, octave, seconds, and thirds. Okay, this one has seconds and thirds in it. We'll just do this level and the next level, and then we'll take a little break. And for anyone who wants to keep hanging around, I'm also going to do an example. I'm going to drill some of the other things. Generally speaking, the interval recognition is the hardest thing on listening assignment 1 for most people. But I'll also do a little bit of meter recognition, chord recognition, some pitch dictation. Not too much time on those, but that'll be after we take a little 5-minute break. So if you want to drill some of those tonight, we can do that. And I'll also be doing an example of the assignment that's due on Sunday called Intervals in Music 1, which really gets a lot of people because they kind of underestimate how tough it is. So you'll want to check that out if you can stick around for the entire time. These labs and the lectures tend to go pretty long. Sorry. But, if you need to go for whatever reason, that's fine. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt, but just make sure you try to watch it on the archive when I send it out tomorrow just to get up to speed. This is a fast-moving class, and it's a lot of stuff, all right? So be patient. Okay, so this is... Now we're going to be using... We're going to hear all the ones we heard before, but we also might hear a major second and a major third. What song can we use for a major second to recognize the sound of an ascending major second? Let me play one for you. What does that remind you of?
Happy birthday?
Happy birthday. Yeah. What else could it remind you of? What did I just play?
Scale.
Yeah, a major scale. First two notes of a major scale are a major second. Cool. Again, what about for a major third? What could we use to recognize the sound of a major third?
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya, right. Major third is the first two notes in Kumbaya, or Oh When the Saints. Or what is this sound? And those are the first three notes of Kumbaya, but what really familiar musical element is this?
NBC.
Not NBC. NBC is so it's close though. What is this though? This is not a song, but a
Triad.
Yes, thank you, Andre, and whoever said that in the mic. Yeah, major triad. The first three notes of Kumbaya happen to be the notes of a major triad as well. Kumbaya, 1, 3, 5, right? Cool. So you really want to be familiar with the sound of a major triad, right? And be able to sing it. La, 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 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. Cool. So a major third should remind you of one of those two things, and the other ones we've already gone over. So let's try this first one. And I would encourage anyone to go ahead and start trying to match these pitches with your voice, even if you're not very good at it. Just start working on it now. Even if you're just humming. If you can connect your voice, if you can connect yourself physically with these sounds, you're gonna learn them much better. Good, I heard someone do it. Okay, so we've got perfect eighth, we've got perfect fourth. Any other answers? Notice I'm singing these in a lower octave than where they're actually being played because it's more comfortable for me. You can do that. La, 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 la. Or I could sing them.
Perfect fourth.
I could sing them up here. So yeah, this is actually perfect fourth. Perfect octave would have sounded like this. La, 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 la. Much larger interval. Pay attention to how small and large these intervals are. You know, that might be the first question you want to ask yourself to start narrowing down your choices. You know, obviously, major second is a very small interval. Perfect octave is a very large interval, for example. So this is a perfect fourth. Here comes the bride. Dun, 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 dun. Cool. Okay, that's a unison. I'm going to skip that one.
Major second.
Okay, we've got major second. Any other answers? So that would be Happy Birthday. Does that sound right?
No.
Okay, good. So what else might it be? So it's not major second.
Perfect fifth.
Twinkle, twinkle, little
I
star.
might as well major third then.
Okay, so
Considering the lead.
Kumbaya. Not quite a major third. If I tried to sing Kumbaya. Kumbaya. Kumbaya is more like Kumbaya. So this is
Twinkle, twinkle.
Yeah, this is Twinkle Twinkle. This is perfect fifth. You could think of this as the first and third notes of Kumbaya, right? Because Kumbaya is a major triad. Kumbaya. If you took the first and third notes, that's a perfect fifth. But the first and second notes of Kumbaya are major third, la la. So here's the interval we heard, a perfect fifth. La la, twinkle twinkle. Here's a major third. Kumbaya, kumbaya. So if you're confusing two intervals, say a perfect fifth and a major third, practice them back to back. Play them on your keyboard, and you'll start to hear the difference.
So major third is the Kumbaya, and the perfect fifth is Twinkle Twinkle.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So Kumbaya, twinkle twinkle. And I was just mentioning that between the first and third notes of Kumbaya is actually a perfect fifth, same as Twinkle Twinkle. Kumbaya, So don't want to throw you off, but it's there, you know. So, okay, cool. Perfect fifth. Let's do another one. Okay, that was the same one. I'm going to move on. Okay, what's this one? Okay, we've got one answer that says minor second. Ah, you fixed your answer. Thank you for fixing your answer. Yeah, Reynard says changed his answer to major second, which is good. So just wanted to point out how important it is to use an uppercase M versus a lowercase m, because one means minor, one means major. Okay, any other answers? So if this is a major second, we could sing Happy Birthday to this, or we could sing up a major scale, right? Happy birthday, dun 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 dun. Mm-hmm. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that sounds right to me. Anyone else think the same or differently?
Same.
Yeah, sounds like Happy Birthday to me, major second. Great. Yeah, that's a major second right there. Good. Unison. Yeah, okay. Okay. What's this one? Good.
Major second.
Okay, we got a couple different answers. We got perfect eighth. We got major second. Let's listen to it again. Is this a large interval, small interval, or medium size?
Small, I'm thinking.
Let's do it
From
again.
real deep to real high.
La, la. If you try to if you try to sing it, the more difficult it is to sing. Usually that means it's a larger interval. La la, because your throat has to constrict to get to that higher interval. Yeah. So I think it's a large interval. Da, da. And I think it is. I agree with some of you. It's a perfect octave. So major second, let's compare the sound of a major second to what we just heard. So we just heard this. That's a perfect octave. Here's a major second above the same note. If we started on the same note. Can you hear?
Yeah, big difference.
Big difference, right? So this is a much smaller interval than an octave. Here's a perfect major second one more time. Perfect octave. Big difference, yeah. Cool. So perfect octave. Let's do another one.
Well, we just did. It's a second.
Yeah. This is a major second. Everyone hear that?
Trying to throw me off.
Yeah, and it started on the same note in the same octave, just by coincidence. So that's funny. Yeah, it's a major second. Happy birthday to you. Cool. Yeah, so that was a major second right there. Or it could sound like the first two notes of a major scale. Cool. All right. What about this one? Feel free to hum it or sing it. Does it feel small, medium, large?
It's close. It's small.
Yeah, good. If you can tell that, you're on the right track. So no,
major second or third.
Okay.
I would say it's a second.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those two. I'm trying to figure out which one.
Okay, I'll play it a few more times. Let's see if we can narrow it down. We know it's small.
Second.
Okay. Looks like most people are saying a major second, and I would agree. Happy birthday, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. If this were a major third, let me play a major third just to compare. Sorry. Major third's a little bit larger,
Okay.
right? You could think of Kumbaya. Cool. Major third.
There's more happiness on the end.
Oops, I accidentally wrote major third. Okay, someone mentioned happiness. I put the wrong answer. It's a major second. I wrote major third. Sorry. Yeah, so someone mentioned the happy sound of a major third. Right? That major third definitely communicates the sound of happiness. That's why it's used in a major triad. It's that interval right there that makes a major triad sound happy. If we lowered that note,
minor.
It would be a minor third. And
be sad.
Right.
Sad.
So when we start trying to recognize minor thirds, we're going to keep that in mind. A minor third. I'm hearing a lot of noise coming out of someone's laptop. If you can mute yourself, if you know who you are. I can't tell who it is. Thank you. Yeah, so major third, minor third, definitely sounds much different. You're right. Communicates a much different emotion. Great. Okay, cool. I think we've done enough of these for now. Let's go to the next level, and it'll be our last intervals drill for tonight. We're going to do interval recognition level 5. So we could hear, we could hear major seconds descending and major thirds descending. We haven't done any of those yet. And then we're also going to add 6ths and 7ths. Let me do a couple on the piano real quick before we jump into this. And let's see how we do with a few of these. Okay, so these will just be random ones. Let's see how we do. So I'll give you a choice. It's either a major second, a major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, or perfect octave. So first of all, is this ascending or descending?
Descending.
Yeah, definitely descending. Is it?
I think it's a second.
Okay. Anyone else?
Or is it a third?
So if you flip it around, dum 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 dum. I think it's a second. Happy birthday, right?
Yeah.
Right. Let me play a descending major third to compare. A little larger, definitely different sound. Major second, major third. Okay.
Have you ever played Hot Cross Buns? BAG?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. So on the song list here that we did, a descending major second, we used Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's a really similar tune to Hot Cross Buns, yeah. Or Hot Cross Buns. First two notes are a major second, descending major second. Da, da. Really good that you heard that. So if you want to use that for the sound of a major second, by all means, do it. Cool. Okay, let me do another one.
Swing low.
Beautiful, yes. Mm-hmm. So what would that be?
Major third.
Major third, yeah. I'm going to keep this open. I'm just going to drill some of these on the keyboard. That way you can keep this open. Cool. Okay, let's do another one.
Swing low.
That's what I was hearing.
Okay, a couple people said swing low.
I think swing low might be a little deeper than that, though.
Swing low sounds. If we kept singing that melody, swing low, sweet chariot. I mean, you know,
close enough.
It's tricky. It's right. It's tricky because you could sing the words to any song with any notes, right?
Any pitch.
Right. It's not going to necessarily sound right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So I could sing like, I don't know, You get the idea.
It's tough. I got you.
Yeah, so it's not quite swing low. Let me play you swing low. Swing low. Here's the interval I'm playing. So go through all these choices of descending intervals. I don't have a full list here, but it's one of these.
Here comes. Oh, that's higher. Flintstones. Flintstones. It's the
There we go.
Flintstones.
Good. Everyone hear that? Yeah, Flintstones. Perfect. So when you really find it, hopefully you'll know. You might try a few that don't quite work. Swing low. It's not quite right. Here's swing low. Swing low, sweet chariot. Right. Cool. Good. Okay, cool. Right, so now what we're going to be doing, we're going to have some, what else? We're going to have some sixths and sevenths. Major sixths and major sevenths. All right, so major sixths, we can use Hush Little Baby. Major six is a pretty large interval. Little baby, or the NBC theme, right? So hopefully one of those reminds you of the sound of a major sixth. In a major seventh, I like to use that big part of the Star Trek theme, that big leap. So that's an even larger interval. I also like to think of Take On Me. Oh wait, from minor seventh. I don't know where the minor seventh is in the Star Trek theme. But I like to use the Star Trek. I was confusing it with Superman. No, it is in the Star Trek theme. I wish I could play it, but it wouldn't be legal for me to play it right now. But if you look up the Star Trek theme, if you just play it, there's when the main melody comes in, you can find it on Spotify or YouTube. It's like a lady singing this crazy sounding melody. It goes like something like that. She's just singing ooh. That first interval that she sings is a minor seventh. We're not doing those right now though. So for major seventh, I like Take On Me, and I like Superman. Okay. So let's try a few of these. I'm gonna just play one and let's see how you do with it. All right. So. Okay, so someone said somewhere, meaning that would be a perfect octave. Someone said major sixth, which might sound like Hush Little Baby or the NBC theme, or It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, or My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. There's several you can use for major sixth. Anyone have anything different? So this is actually.
I go to 6, yeah.
Yeah, this is a major six. I'm trying to write.
It's a little lower than the Take On Me song. I know that song. I don't know any of the ones that you've given as a reference for number 6 yet.
Okay.
I can't remember the NBC theme, so it doesn't even help with that one.
Okay, let me play it for you. It might ring a bell, maybe not. Oh, I'm sorry, that was wrong. That's the NBC jingle. You could also use Hush Little Baby, don't say a word, Hush Little Baby. Or It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, da 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 da. Or My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean.
My wallet. Why are you taking everything out of my wallet for? No.
I'm not.
Okay. So here's a few examples. Hopefully one of these will work for you. NBC theme, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean, Hush Little Baby, Little baby, it came upon.
No, get away from my stuff. Will.
Hey, could I think it was William? Can you mute your mic, please? While you're being robbed.
By an infant.
Yeah, sounds like a small person was robbing you. Anyway, cool. So yeah, so let's let me play a few more. Those are your choices for major 6. This one is not going to be a major 6. It'll be something else. All right, let's see how you do.
Major 7th.
Okay, someone said major 7th. I think it was Marcus. Anyone else? Richard says major 7th.
Go.
On me. Yeah. On me. Yeah, I agree. This is a major 7th. Or it could be the Superman. Da, 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 na, da, 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 na. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's try a few in Aurelia real quick. Maybe I'll just play, I feel like we've done quite a few intervals, and it's getting like, it's like 9 o'clock. Frank said Altered State. I don't know what that is. Is that a song? Does that contain one of these intervals or something? So what I think I'd like to do at this point is take like a 5-minute break. Okay, there's a movie that song was in. Oh, what, Take On Me or something? Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. So let's take a quick 5-minute break, if y'all don't mind, because I don't like to go straight through. I want to give your ears a break, give you a chance to do what you need to do. When we get back, I'm going to do a few meter recognition drills, a few chord recognition drills, and I'm going to do an example of intervals in music 1. All right? So I'll set the timer for 5 minutes. I'm going to mute everyone's mics, and I'll unmute them when we get back. So I'll see you in 5. I was talking and no one could hear me. Sorry about that. So hope you all had a good break. Sorry I was a little late getting back. I left the room, so I didn't have my eye on the timer. Cool. So we've drilled a lot of intervals. Hopefully you get a good idea of how to go about doing it. I'd like to just do a few more things in Aurelia. They shouldn't take too long. At least we won't spend the same amount of time on them as we did with the intervals. So I feel like the intervals is probably the most difficult topic of this week. And let me go ahead and unmute everybody. If you've opted to keep yourself muted, it should still stay muted, but I will enable everyone's mics to be on for anyone who wants it on. So just as a reminder to mute yourself or unmute yourself, do Shift Command M.
Okay. Just checking my mic, my bad. Just checking my mic.
No problem.
Smart.
And so I'm hearing let's see. Someone's got like a TV or something on. If you could mute your mic, whoever that is. Give you a few seconds to do that. I'm going to go ahead. He might not be back yet, so I'm going to go ahead and mute William. I think it's William. And so if I mute you for any reason, if I need to mute you, and you want to be unmuted, again, just ask me to unmute you. No problem at all. Okay, cool. So I want to get into a little bit of meter recognition. And real quick, let me give you a few setup tips. If you go ahead and open up Aurelia and log in and all that, this is all in the FSO dashboard. There's a list of, let me log in real quick. There's a list of setup tips for Aurelia. It's called Aurelia Setup Tips. It's under the announcements section of the FSO dashboard. And those are pretty important that you do those so that you can optimize your Aurelia playback. I'll just go ahead and walk you through the steps, but it's right on the announcement section of the FSO dashboard. So in Aurelia, if you go to, where is it? Administration, the drop-down menu here, and go to Sound and Pictures. Everyone can see my screen, right? I think. Yeah. Go to Administration, Sound and Pictures, and go to Playback. I'm sorry, go to Emphasis. You want to make sure that these sliders are turned up. Emphasis on major beats. especially for any rhythm exercises, if you turn this up all the way or maybe most of the way, that will emphasize beat 1 of every bar that you hear. If you're doing a rhythm exercise, so beat 1 will be much louder. So if you have trouble figuring out where beat 1 is when you're listening to something, this will help, at least in Aurelia. You can adjust the volume of the metronome. And I would also turn up chord emphasis and melody emphasis. What this one will do, the chord emphasis, it'll emphasize the bass line. So when you're hearing a chord progression, it'll bring out the lowest notes, the root notes of the chords, the bass notes, so that they're nice and loud, so that it'll help you identify what the progression is. We're not doing any chord progressions this week, but you will very soon. And then melody emphasis. You may want to turn this up. This will make beats 1 of every bar when you're hearing a melody more apparent. That might be good too. All right, so I would go ahead and do those things. And let's go ahead and jump into some meter recognition, and I just want to kind of get an idea of how good you guys are with that, with this topic. So we're going to do meter recognition level 1. And all this is distinguishing between 2/4 and 3/4. So what's the difference between 2/4 and 3/4? Simple answer, it's just one of them has this many beats, one of them has this many beats per measure or per bar. Does anyone know? So 2/4 has 2 beats in every bar. 3/4 has 3 beats in every bar, right? So and so if you turn up the emphasis on beat 1 of the bar in the sound settings there, you'll be able to tell where beat 1 is. It should be pretty apparent which one it is. So let's see how we do with the first one. And be aware that there's going to be some rests in there too. So the rests are there to kind of try to throw you off. You still have to feel where the basic pulse is and where beat 1 is, where the downbeat is. So let me play this again because I was talking over the beginning of it. And let's see what kind of answers we get. So, bob your head, tap your foot, or whatever. Anything you can do to try to feel where the beat is and where beat 1 is. So what do we think? Was this 2/4 or 3/4?
2/4.
I think.
We got 2 different answers?
2/4.
Okay. So, we're divided. Let's listen to it again. Does anyone want to change their answer?
I still say 2/4.
Okay. So I'll play it one more time. So there's something you can do. If you think it's 2/4 or if you think it's 3/4, you could try both if you're not really sure, if you're up in the air about it. So let me try counting along in 2/4. I'm going to try to count 2 beats
I think
per
it's
bar.
3/4.
Okay.
I think it's 3/4.
Okay. So let's say if I think it's 2/4, I want to test my answer. I'm going to try to count along in 2/4. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So did you notice it worked out? I ended on 2, right? But it felt a little weird because sometimes when I was saying
Is it triplets?
it's not triplets. There were no triplets in there. It is in 3/4 though. So when I was counting along in 2/4, sometimes when I would say 2, I heard a really strong beat, right? An emphasized beat. So, the beat that's typically emphasized in any time signature is beat 1. So if I'm hearing a really strong, a really loud snare drum, when I'm saying 2 shouldn't be as strong of a beat as beat 1. You know what I mean? So right. So in 2/4, the strong beat is here. Here's a strong beat. Here's a weak beat. In 3/4, beat 1 is strong. Beat 2 is weak. Beat 3 is weak. They're not. And when I say weak, it just means they're not emphasized, right? So.
Accident.
It's not an accident. It has nothing. Someone say accident or something.
Accident. Or accident.
Oh,
You
accent.
mean accent?
Accent.
Accented.
Yes. Yeah. Beat 1 is typically accented. Musicians do it naturally. And in Aurelia, that's why you want to go into your administration tab, turn up the emphasis on strong beats so that you can tell where they are. Because if you don't turn that up, it's going to be pretty difficult to tell. But yeah, they're accented, right? So 3/4 is the answer here. Before I move on, I'm going to go ahead and turn that emphasis up a little bit more, just to make it a little bit more obvious. Let me turn it up all the way, in fact. So emphasis on major beats. Here we go. Okay, cool. So rhythm, meter recognition. Okay, this one, new one. Okay. What
Can
about
I
this
get a
one?
replay? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
No problem.
I say 3/4 again.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's 3/4 too. So if I counted along with it, it would really feel right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? Good. So yeah, 3/4. Okay, let's just do a few more. Okay, I'll play it one more time. Okay, what do we think?
3/4.
Okay. Anyone disagree? No? No one's disagreeing? Yeah, it's 3/4. Yeah, pretty simple. Okay. This is a new one. I'll play it again.
One, two, one,
It's
two, one,
2/4.
Yeah,
2/4.
good. So really, this should just be like a feeling you get out of it, right? You should be able to feel the 2 beats or the 3 beats. Okay, cool. Does anyone want to do any more of these? Does anyone specifically feel like they need to drill some more of these right now?
I got this.
Okay, I think most people feel pretty
I'm
good.
talking about.
Okay, cool. Cool. Since we don't need to do it, let's move on. All right, because I don't want to waste time on it. So as long as everyone's cool with that, I think it's pretty straightforward. Cool. So let's do. Okay, pitch dictation is generally pretty easy. Let's just touch on it real quick, just so you get a taste of it. So this is a really important skill. It's not really that difficult in Aurelia, but basically it's going to play one of 3 notes in a major triad, either the root, the third, or the fifth. So it's really important that you can tell the difference between them. So when I play major triad, and I play one note out of that triad, you want to be able to name which one it is. So as a little warm-up, this is actually going to over-prepare you for this particular exercise, but I want to do it anyway, because this is something that you're going to be wanting to use all month. When I play a major triad, actually, I'm going to change the key. I'll do a different key. This one's generally easier to sing in. I would like to encourage you all to try singing a little bit with me now, okay? So, and just matching pitch is all we're trying to do. So the first thing I want you to try to do is, when I play this chord, try to find the root note. Try to find tonic, which is the root note of the chord. It should be the strongest note of the chord, the most central note of the chord. There's a million ways I can describe it, but it's tonic. It's the root note of the chord, the lowest note there. So, if anyone would like to try to volunteer to try to match that pitch first, feel free, and I'll come in a few seconds. But listen to it, try to find the root note, try to find tonic.
Dum.
Good. Dum, dum. Doesn't matter what octave you sing it in. Here's tonic. Here's tonic. Good.
Dum.
Good. Perfect. Beautiful.
Nice one.
Yeah, I was choking though.
So if you can't sing it that low, sing it up the next octave or the next octave. Doesn't matter, because tonic is tonic is tonic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, some of these will be more in your range, more comfortably in your range than others. So, just try to find whatever is comfortable for you. And I heard someone actually singing the whole triad. I don't know who that was.
Down, down.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I got you.
That's what you want to be able to do. Find tonic, 1, then go to 3, then 5, then back down to 3, then back to 1. So let's see if we can all find 3. So there's tonic. Can we find the third? That's actually tonic again. That was just an octave up. There it is. That's the third. So we can compare that to tonic. Go up a major third. There's a
I feel like
third.
I'm back at boys. I feel like I'm back
Let
at
it
boys
out, baby.
choir.
Just let it out.
The boys choir. Oh.
Yeah, this is a little bit like a virtual choir, I guess. Good. So that was a third. Okay, now let's try to find the fifth. Where's the fifth? It's the best way to get. Good. Good. Nice. So
I heard it in the.
Yeah, the best way to get there is just sing up the triad, right? Root, third, fifth, there it is. So if you want to be able to sing up any major triad,
There you
regardless.
go, Will. I see you getting it up.
Cool. So there we go. That's a nice little warm up. All right. This should be really easy when we do these. So let's see what we do. You're just going to hear a series of notes. They're going to be the root or the third or the fifth of a major triad. So let's see how we do. And by the way, when you're in Aurelia and you're playing something like a melodic exercise where you've got like a series of notes, if you want to pause the playback right after you hear a note, which can be really useful, just click outside of the window, outside of the Aurelia window, and it'll pause it. Okay? So we might use that a little bit. So here's our key. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hit that replay button a few times, and I want everyone to try to find tonic, and then we'll sing up the triad, and that'll give us a reference point for everything else we hear. All right? So let's try to find tonic. Where's the root note of this chord? I heard that's actually the third. See if you can find tonic. You can fish for it. If you need to fish for it, that's fine. It's actually right here. Here's the chord. So I heard someone singing the third. That's the third. Here's the root note. Or up here. Can everyone match that pitch? La. Good. Now let's go to the third. Little too high. You're singing the fifth. Here's the third. Good. There it is. Now let's find the fifth. Good. However you need to get there.
I ain't the best for soprano, but I'll try to be the best.
No, you sound great. You'd be hired in my choir. So cool. So that was, I would really recommend you do that. Before you even get into this stuff, just hit replay, try to find the whole triad. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. Then you'll have no problem identifying what you hear after that. So let's see what we hear. First note's going to be the root. So what did we hear in terms of notes in the triad? It's either 1, 3, or 5. Let's listen to it one more time. Got 1.
That's 3. That's 5.
Yeah,
and 1.
And 1. 1, 3. So 1, 3, 5, 1. Right? So I'll fill in the notes there, and when we play it back, we should just hear 1, 3, 5, 1. 1, 3, 5, 1. And after you fill in the notes, see if you can sing it back to yourself. 1, 3, 5, 1. You want to be able to sing the notes of a major triad any order you want. 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 5, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, whatever. 1, 5, 3, 5, 1.
1, 3, 5.
Excellent. I heard someone doing it. That's
3,
perfect.
5, 1.
Yes, beautiful. Great. Okay, let's. And this is a nice feature. You can hit play my answer to see if it sounds like the one you just heard. So these are really a no-brainer. Let's just do like one or two more. Okay, I'm gonna find tonic. I'm gonna hit replay a few times. Let's find the root note of this chord. See if you can do it. And keep searching until you're sure you're on tonic. I hear someone singing the fifth below tonic. Just fish around, all you need. I hear someone singing it. There it is. Good. Good. Okay.
I don't know if that's it or not.
You got it. That's it. That's it.
I'm fishing.
That's
I'm
great.
Fishing.
You want to fish around all over the place until you find it. And that's it. You found it. That was good. La. Now let's see if anyone can find the third. I'm singing tonic. Where's the third? That was the root note up an octave from where you just had it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's all right. Let's see if we can find the third. Go from here's tonic. Go up a major third. Here's the third. Can anyone sing it?
No.
You got it. You got it.
I did it anyway, but no.
Let's go back to the root note. Good. And now let's go to the third. Now let's go up to the fifth.
Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah. I feel good about at least you guys. Yeah. So
I think some fish left. I think some fish left the net. I don't know.
You guys are better at this than you think you are. I think.
I think they mutant. I don't
Yeah,
think
'cause
they
they was-
my melodious voice, and I think
It was judo chopping and karate and all that stuff trying to get out the net.
All right. So yeah, if you can sing a major triad, find the root note, sing the major triad, you'll be golden. So let's try this one, and then we'll move on to a different topic. Oh, okay. I'll get to you. Jerry just asked about changing the emphasis. I'll do that in just a second after I do this example here. So, la, 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 la. We're going to sing the third. I'll play it all again and fill in as many of the blanks as you can.
3, 5, 3, 1.
Yeah, anyone else get anything different? So it'd be 3, 3, 5, 3, 1. Excellent. Yeah.
Go ahead, Marcus.
It's my chop. Hanging my chop in.
All right, so are we feeling pretty good about this? Any questions about it? Do we need to do any more?
Yeah, I can handle that.
I think
Yeah.
we're good on that. Okay, cool. So
They got along though.
So Jerry, I think the reason why you couldn't select it is because if you're in the middle, if you're like doing an exercise or something, you can't go into the sound and picture stuff. So as long as you're outside of a test or a drill, go to administration, sound and pictures, emphasis, and just turn up the emphasis on major beats, chord emphasis, that'll emphasize the root notes of the chord. And melody emphasis. All right, you got it, Jerry? I think.
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay, cool. Okay, and the only other topic for listening assignment 1 is chord recognition level 1. This should also be pretty easy. This is just
Oh, happy or sad?
yeah, basically, yeah. And it's actually super easy because they're arpeggiated. They're played one note at a time. So just like we were just going 1,
Oh,
3,
wow.
5, 3, 1. A minor triad would just be 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. That's something else you want to practice singing. You don't need to do it for this particular thing. And that's something you can practice on your keyboard. Just play a major triad. Sing up it 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. if I'm playing a major triad, let's say I'm playing a C major triad, what note would I change to make it a C minor triad?
The third.
Yeah, what would I
Drop
do
it.
to the third?
Drop it a half step.
Drop it a half step. Right. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. What is this interval between the root and the third of a minor triad? Does anyone know what this interval is?
Say again.
What's the interval between the root and third of a minor triad?
Shoot.
Let's go through the process real quick. So we've got C and E flat. What's the interval number? This is throwback to the beginning of the lab.
3.
It's 3. C, D, E. The interval number is 3. Let's find the quality. If we look at this, the lowest note is a C. If we build a C major scale, C, D, E. E would be the major third. We've got an E flat, minor third.
Minor third.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, pretty easy to remember, I think. The interval between the root and third of a minor triad is a minor third.
Minor third.
Right. Good thing to notice. So if you hear a minor third and it reminds you of the sound of a minor triad, that'll help. William wants me to... Yeah, I can unmute you. Absolutely. Cool. Do you have a question, William, or did you just want to be unmuted?
He's still muted. I still can't hear him.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Is your mic on?
You might need to go... There's like a...
Yay! You hear
There
me
you
now?
go. Now we got it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, you know.
Welcome to the boys' choir.
Thank you.
Janis Joplin on the sticks.
Yeah.
So- okay, so what was I saying?
And
Right.
Jimi Hendrix on the drums.
That would be a messed up band.
Yeah.
Very acidic.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody be stoned.
Be all the same.
Okay, so yeah, minor third in a minor triad, major third is in a major triad, right? We already talked about that. So, okay, cool. So let's try a few of these. These should be pretty easy. Let's try it out. And you hear the whole chord first, by the way.
Major.
So I heard someone say major. Let's listen to it a few more times.
Sounds sad to me.
And if you can sing along with it, find that root note.
That's
And usually you just want to go with your gut here. So what
Major.
someone says major.
major.
Someone says
Minor.
major.
Minor.
Oh man.
Wait. Minor.
I'm gonna go minor.
Yeah, I go with minor.
Okay.
I'll take minor behind door number 2 track.
I would say minor here. So la 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 la.
This is a half step in between here, right?
Half step
I
between.
mean, it's
What?
A half step off of the third.
right.
Right. Okay.
It's
So
reduced by a half step.
yeah. So you could
Yeah.
compare. Right. Okay. So since you've got the first note, or the root note of the triad in the piano roll down here, right? You got an A.
Mm-hmm.
You could try both things, right? You could try an A minor triad. What is an A minor triad? Can anyone build an A minor triad really quick?
ACE.
Yeah, A, C,
Oh.
E. Very good. Minor third plus a major third, C to E, between the third and the fifth is a major third. There's an A minor triad, and what would be an A major triad?
C sharp.
It
A,
would be
C
C
sharp,
sharp.
E.
Yes. Good.
There's
So
the
just-
happiness.
So just compare, yeah. Nice happy sound. Nice sad, dark
It's sad.
sound. Tears.
I try to stay away from sad. I like the happy more better.
Okay, yeah.
I like the darkness.
Uh-oh.
Usually,
The dog.
Welcome to the Terror Dome.
does anyone know?
Welcome to the Terror Dome.
Well, yeah. Since you mentioned that, what is most hip hop music made in? Is it usually in major or minor keys? Most often.
Minor.
Minor.
Definitely
Minor?
minor. Definitely minor.
That's why I like it.
Yeah. So yeah.
Brainwashing. MKO.
Like for instance, Dr. Dre's song when he did with Jay-Z, The Watcher. That's in minor.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
it came from The Watcher with Jay-Z and Dr. Dre. That's in minor. It's the theme from James Bond, that old British guitar.
I can't remember
Not
that.
to mention Alicia Keys' whole album.
Track.
Down,
Well, yeah.
down, 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 down. Yeah,
I still can't
check
think
it
of
out. It's pretty deep.
Yeah, that sounds pretty minor to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say I think like every track off of that album, off the Chronic 2001, is probably in a minor key if I remember correctly. Every single, I mean, you know,
we still waiting for the detox, and they ain't got here yet.
Nick,
I
what you
know.
know about the Chronic?
I'm detoxed waiting on the
I don't-
detox.
we still waiting for the detox in California, man. We like, hey, what's up with the detox?
He's taking
All
his
right,
sweet
I'm
time.
sorry, I didn't
no,
mean to get
it's
us
no,
off.
no problem. That's a good point, though. I mean, if you can relate these concepts, because I don't want you to think of this stuff as just these dry music theory drills. I want you to be able to find what you're learning about in music that you actually listen to, right? So that you can write better music yourself. Yeah, that's the whole point. But yeah, I can't think of that particular song. Another song off that album, good album to reference. Let me think. What is it again? I'm sorry. That's what is that? Forgot About Trey? Or one of the just a minor triad. Yeah, it's Forgot About Dre. Yeah, so that's just 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3 of a minor triad, right? The 2 isn't in the triad, but it's all part of the minor scale, right? So cool. Yeah. So this one. So let's just listen to this one again. Let's make sure everyone hears a minor chord when they're hearing this one. There it is, all played harmonically.
Minor.
Definitely minor. Da da da. Cool. Let's do another one.
Happy.
So you feel a change in mood there?
Major.
There should be
Major.
Yeah, there should be a gut reaction when you hear these. And this actually had the same root note, right? It was still an A, it was another A. But this was a major triad this time, right? Cool. All right.
I can't. Major?
Let's listen to it again.
Sad.
Sad? I can't hear sad.
So is that you, William, that said you can't hear sad?
Yeah, I can't hear sad.
You're just
I hear like, I can hear the end.
Uh-oh,
That's that would be minor.
I can't hear sad. Like,
Well, you're just such a happy guy. You just can't hear sad.
can you describe?
Okay.
Yeah, I can't even.
Kind of a somber mood is how I think of it. It's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like when you listen to it, it automatically makes you just.
Yeah.
Like, I can't had a feeling. I just.
It's not It's not easy to describe. It's just something that you have to hear from repetition. So, easiest thing you can do to train yourself to do this is just play, C major triad on the piano, whatever octave.
But I think that's that concept in music theory.
You hear that? It is. It's the sunshine on the end of it. It's like,
You got the sunshine.
It's like
you got the cloud.
Well, I still didn't get it in music theory. It just.
She had us drawing circle faces with sad faces.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know how they do it in theory.
Third grader.
I nuked it. I just kept on doing it over and over and over and over. So it's in there now.
Yeah,
I was the same way at first.
So William,
It's a lot of practice.
Yeah, it's just a lot of repetition. So now, do you know how to form a major triad and a minor triad back to back on your keyboard though? Is that something you can do pretty quick?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
That's all it's gonna take. So play major triad, play minor triad, play them up and down, one note at a time. Try singing them any way you can connect yourself to it. Yeah. It's just that third. It's one note difference.
Sad.
And it's a very small difference on the keyboard. It's just moving this note down to this note, right? But the sound is totally different to me. So that's something you need to work on. You can also use Aurelia, of course, just drilling it like this. You'll get better at it eventually. You know what I mean? So
that's how I started. I just kept doing that one section over and over and over and over.
Yeah, that's what it's there
that's
for.
That's how I did. I mean, EGB, and then want to make it happy, just put a D sharp in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, You could try it different. You know, it doesn't matter which one you choose. What if you as your root
Okay.
note, it doesn't matter at all. So, cool. So this one was what was it? This is minor. Everyone agrees, I think.
Well, speaking for himself, yeah, minor.
Yeah. There are some songs that contain major and minor triads as part of their melodies. The one that comes to mind for a minor triad, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Stevie Wonder's work, but he has a song called All I Do. The chorus of that goes, I don't know what key it's in, but all I do is think about you. The first three notes of that melody right there is a minor triad.
All I do.
Yeah, so that's a minor triad.
Is think about you.
So if you
sorry.
it's okay. You might be able to find another one, or like Forgot About Dre. First three notes of that little riff.
Sonny and
That's a minor
Cher.
triad. Sonny and Cher. Which one?
Yeah.
Why do?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
That works. Yeah, that's minor triad.
Gonna make a remix off that one.
So you can find major and minor triads all over the place in melodies. They're used all the time in melodies. Sometimes they're kind of hidden, but they're there. So, I'll try to think of other examples. But anyway, so yeah, this one was, what was it? Minor. Yeah. So let's move on. Let's do another one. Just a couple more of these. Okay. What
Hey,
about this
let me call you back. Nicholas.
This is sad, babe. Tears me up all the time.
What do you think, William? Can you tell?
Sad.
Yes. Are you saying that
Is it sad?
just because Marcus was wiping away tears?
Teared up.
No, it felt sad at that moment. You know,
Good.
it felt sad to me.
Good. That's great.
Feelings.
It's just-
nothing more than
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, that's what it's all about, right? Because music is communicating emotions. Major and minor chords communicate happy and sad very strongly. I don't know why, but it does. So Jerry just asked a major scale, whole half, whole half. Yes.
Yep.
But use your circle of fifths to form the major scales instead of that formula. It'll work out the same way, but then you'll get more familiar with the notes and the accidentals of the key. Cool. So that was
That's
my-
nice.
Well, I was
You don't
just
know
thinking
Willie
that
Haynes?
whenever it's a half step, then you just pretty much lower it. Lower it one step.
Can you say that one more time? I missed the first part.
I was thinking that when it comes to the major scale, when you come to where the half step would be, whatever that letter is, you would pretty much just lower it one step.
Not quite. So,
So if you get to where you have whole,
so yeah.
Well, depending on which one you start on.
Okay,
yeah,
so
there you go.
so let's say we started forming on a C major scale using the whole half formula, right? So we start on C, we go up to the second by going up a whole step, we go up to the third by going up another whole step. So we got whole, then we go to half. And now what scale degree are we on right now? Are we on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, or eighth?
Fourth.
Right. So the fourth actually has nothing to do with the tonic triad. It's actually the third that creates the sound of the tonic triad. We take the root, the first, the third, and the fifth scale degrees to get a tonic triad.
Remember
And so the
the
note
middle note just drop it.
right, the note that we'd actually alter to get a minor triad would be the third. We turn that lower that by a half step. Does that address your question adequately, or?
No, I understood that. I was just talking about when forming all the different major scales.
Oh,
That's what I was more so referring to.
okay. Well, you can use that formula to form any major scale. You start on any note, go up a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a half step. You'll get the scale. But I would prefer that you use the circle of fifths so that you can look. So if I just played a B flat major scale, the best way to do that, to strengthen your knowledge of music theory, is to go to the circle of fifths, go to B flat, look at how many flats it's got, 2 flats, find the 2 flats, B flat and E flat, and then just play every letter from B flat to B flat and plug in the flats, B flat and E flat. So B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. That way you start getting familiar with the key of B flat and knowing how many flats it's got instead of just building it with that formula. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, because that's what I was gonna say is that if I use the key signatures, then
Mm-hmm.
that would, as long as I know my key signatures, then I would just know what was in the scale.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier. It's a lot quicker
Definitely.
if you just memorize your key signatures. You know.
Yeah, I know the key signatures.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
me too.
That way you don't have to think about. I mean, it's good to be aware of like what you know. Okay, yeah, there's a whole step, a half step. Should be aware of that, but it's just a lot longer of a process to build a scale using that without thinking about the actual notes in the key signature. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Okay, cool. Let's just do like 1 or 2 more of these. Okay, what about this one? What's your gut reaction? Go with your gut.
My gut says it's a damn shame what happened to that dog.
Yeah, I say minor.
Oh, dog.
Hold on.
Oh,
He mind his business. He wasn't looking both ways.
you guys are ridiculous.
Just ran down the street.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, this is a minor one, minor triad here. Okay, and one more. Let's play this one.
Sunshine. Yay. The dog lived.
The dog lived, exactly.
Legs ain't working, but he lived.
That's a shame.
That is,
You know that?
that's still kind of sad, Marcus. Jeez.
Dog gotta go around on crutches.
You don't know the dogs where I'm from. You don't know these dogs. That's good.
Okay, wow. All right, cool. So I think we did all of the Aurelia drills. Last thing I want to do tonight is give you an idea of how to go about the assignment that's due on Sunday. One of the assignments due on Sunday, which is Intervals in Music 1. So you definitely want to pay attention to this. This is a hard one for most people. You have 2 assignments just like this, same format and everything. Usually the first time around people do it, Intervals Music 1, they crash and burn pretty hard. And second time around, they know what to expect. But if you know what to expect the first time around, you might be okay. So let me show you what it looks like. All right. Nope, not that. So basically, let me find it. You are going to get a Word document. You're going to download a Word document. This Word document right here on the Intervals in Music 1 assignment. All right, you're going to fill in your name, and you're going to click on this link. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And
Alrighty.
and you don't have to do this right now. I'm just showing you how it works. You're going to fill in the username, Full Sail, password, library.
Yeah, no question about it. Was called by the officials, so now both quarterbacks and throw balls.
All right, Mike.
Someone's
They're watching the game.
Yeah, someone's watching the game. I think it's Shoshana. Could you mute your mic, please, if you can hear me?
Nah, what's the scope? I'm just playing.
Okay, I'm gonna mute Shoshana. If you want me to unmute you, Shoshana, let me know. All right, so you're gonna click that link. It's gonna take you to this page, and you've got a bunch of little files that you can play, little audio files, and the questions will be about these files. You're gonna actually be finding. You're just gonna play the song.
It's 14 minutes. Hey, don't let Travis think I'll say goodbye.
Okay, it's muted. Okay.
Professionalism is.
Plummeted tonight.
I just like to imagine an actual classroom at a college where everyone's got a little TV on their desk or something. Everyone's got it turned on. That's kind of what it turns into sometimes. It's kind of weird. But it's all right. I understand everyone's at home and stuff. All right, so check this out. So you're gonna. The first thing you need to know is where you're gonna be identifying an interval in an actual recording. So it's not gonna be just like me going da da. What's that interval? Oh, it's a minor third. It's not gonna be that simple. It's actually gonna be picking out an interval in an actual song from a specific instrument. So on this site, it's going to specify what instrument is playing the interval. It might be a voice, it might be a trumpet, saxophone, whatever. And it's going to tell you exactly where that interval is located in the recording. So it's not going to be just the first notes. It might be in the middle of the track, and it might be like if someone's singing it, it might be between two specific words or two specific syllables in a word. And so the first pitch of that interval is going to be given to you. You're going to be told, okay, this first pitch is this. What's the second pitch? And then what is the interval between those two pitches? So you're going to fill in this sheet. So you see you've got the first pitch, you fill in the second pitch, then you identify the interval. When you go to take the test in FSO, you're going to first be asked, okay, what's the second pitch of this interval? That's one question. Then the next question will be, what is the interval? So if you get the first question wrong, if you get the pitch wrong, you're
probably going to miss the interval.
Right, exactly. And that's 2 questions that you missed right there. So you got to be really, really careful about finding the second pitch and identifying it totally accurately and being really sure of it.
Will it give you the first one?
It gives you the first one. So this is literally the worksheet you'll be working with right here.
Right.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some examples of my own, because I'm not going to give you the answers to these, obviously.
Is that the interval ID chart?
No. This, I didn't put in the material section. I can do it real quick if you want. But you don't need it right now. This is just an example. Okay. This is actually on the assignment. I don't think it actually it should be open now. You can check it out if you want. This is just a material on the assignment. You're going to download it, fill in the answers to have, and then put in the answers on FSO on the quiz. But you want to save these answers in case something happens on FSO or whatever. Then you can send this in through email if you absolutely need to. All right, so let's do an example. The ones I'm going to use are, since I'm not really allowed to play like other people's music during the lectures, I'm going to use a track from a band that I was in, so I'm allowed to use it. All right, so let me find iTunes. All right. Give it a second. So you'll notice that on these tracks, you got this, what we call the annotation, which tells you exactly where the interval is located in the track. So for example, this interval and this one in
16 seconds.
Right, 16 seconds, the first 2 pitches of the flute melody. So you'll hear a flute melody. You want to make sure you know what a flute sounds like. What should you do if you don't know what a flute sounds like? Any ideas?
Google a flute.
There you go. Genius.
It should be in music.
Maybe.
Yeah. You don't know what a flute is.
Yeah. But you know,
basics.
But you know, some of these might be something you've never heard. Like one of them I think has an oboe in it. An oboe is not a commonly used instrument. I think that's on number 2, but you know, you get the idea.
It's just
I don't know.
a giant clarinet. It's a giant clarinet.
More or less, yeah.
No bass.
But if you don't know what it sounds like, Google it, watch a video or 2, and you'll know what it sounds like. Then you'll be able to pick it out, right?
All right, it looked like a giant bomb. That's what it looks like.
Oh, I guess I know what that is now.
Okay. Let's rein you in. All right. Okay, so for like Love Me Tender here, like the second and third pitches of the vocal melody or whatever between the words me and the first syllable of tender. Those are 2 very specific notes, right? Okay, so the one we're going to do is from this song, Stolen Faces. So I'm going to write the song name in there. It'll already be there for you. Whoops. Stolen Faces. All right, and I don't remember what the first pitch is. I'll have to figure that out real quick. And so it'll be the interval between the words for and you in the vocal melody at 27 seconds. So pretend like I've got my little track pulled up from that website. It won't be in iTunes for you. It'll be a little player on the website. So 27 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and go to 27 seconds because that's the only part I need to listen to. I don't need to listen to anything before it or after it. I'm focused on 2 notes. And I can't find it. So I can use Spotify, actually. I don't have my hard drive hooked up. Just give me 1 second. I do know what the first note is because I wrote it. So I think the first note is A3. I'm pretty sure. Cool. So 27 seconds. So in the vocal melody, between the words for and you, the first pitch is an A. Actually, it might be an A2, actually. So that'll be given on this sheet.
That's all kind of dope.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm checking it out. I was like,
Sounded kind of
score that.
smooth.
So now what I want you to do is you're going to need to actually use your keyboard to figure out the second pitch. All right? And that might be a little bit of fishing around for it, but you just take as much time as you need. I'm going to play that little section right there, and I'm going to pause it right after that second pitch that he sings, all right? And that's to keep it fresh in your head. That's what you're going to have to do. Pause it and then go find the pitch. It'd be a really good idea to match that pitch with your voice and then, hold it out and then try to find it on the keyboard. Right there. And you pause it right there and then you try to find it on your keyboard. So does anyone have their keyboard plugged in? Can you actually go ahead and try to find it?
Can't help you on the keyboard.
No one has a keyboard plugged in. Okay.
I can get my keyboard.
Okay, yeah. We need at least someone to do it. And Andre says he has his plugged in, so yeah, we need someone to do it.
Bang! Oh, without the keyboard.
And that's the long and short of it. You just find that note. So I'll keep playing that until someone can.
You want to know what?
Yeah, I just need to know this.
What do you want to know? You want to know?
We need to know the second pitch. So the first pitch is an
What
A.
the actual pitch?
Yeah, what the actual note is. So the
You want
first.
to know what the pitch?
Yeah, the first pitch is A2.
You hear that?
I can't hear it. No, can you? You probably can hear it through your headphones. So yeah. Okay. So and Andre has an answer. So we're looking for the pitch that the word "you" is being sung on. What was that?
You said it's A?
The first pitch is an A. So
It's a D?
maybe.
D?
Let's listen to it a few more times.
D to four?
What was that?
Yeah, it's a D. It's a D2.
Maybe. Let's find out. So that would be here's an A. Here's an A2. A D2 would actually be. So a D2 would actually be below an A2, right?
Oh, actually, yeah. Okay.
So did you mean D3? Because once we pass,
yeah, D3.
Yeah, once we pass the next C,
Oh yeah.
then we go to the next number. So this is the threes here. So we got A2 to D3 is what William says. Andre says A2 to E3. Let's see if either of those is right. So we want to pause it right there. Try to match that pitch. Let's see if it's a D.
No, it's E.
It's E.
No, it's E.
Right, it's E. And that might take you a while to find it, but you want to make absolutely sure you're right on the money with that second pitch, right? Before you fill it in. Okay, so that's the first step. So we're going to write E3, right? All right, and it's pretty easy to figure out what octave it's in. If you know the octave of the first pitch, you know where the first pitch is, you figure it out from there, right? So again, once you pass a C, you're in the next octave. There, you know what I mean? So between this C and this C, these are the threes, right? C3, D3, D sharp 3, etc. When we hit C4, then everything else after that's 4, all right? So, okay, so E3 is our second pitch. Now we need to fit. What was that? Someone said something. I don't know. What's the next thing we need to figure out? What's the interval between A2 and E3? And we do that the same way we were doing interval identification before. So here is.
On your oxygen keyboard, how do you know when you're in a C3 or C4 and all that?
Good question. When you're on the 0 octave, if I can hold up my keyboard.
Is that C2?
That's actually C4.
No, hit you'll see right next to your window. You'll see your transpose.
Right.
The arrows that point to the left or right, that'll get you go to 0. That'll put you in C2. If you go 1, that'll put you in C4.
Well, actually, if you're on 0, if you play the middle C, the C in the very middle of your keyboard, that is going to be a C4.
That's C4.
Yeah.
That's C4? Okay.
Yeah. Someone's TV is on. I'm not sure who it is.
C4.
So when you're on 0, the middle C is C4.
Yeah. And it's
all right, so then the C all the way to the left would be C3?
Right. Right. And the C all the way to the right.
All the way to the right is C2. Okay.
Or wait, no. Backwards.
No, other way around.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, C5.
So this will be C3. Middle one is C4 if you're on the
C4. If you're on right, and then all the way to the right is C5.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Exactly. So every note between these two C's, between C4 and C5, all the notes until C5 are 4.
C4.
Right. C4. D4, E4, F4, G4, G sharp 4, whatever. Does that make sense?
But now, if I go up to 1, then that middle C would become C5?
Yes, exactly. You've transposed your whole keyboard up an octave, right?
All right, I got it now. Okay.
And, it's like, let's say you find the note in the wrong octave on accident. Really, it should be pretty, like if you look at the worksheet here, if you know that first pitch is an A2, find the A that sounds like it's in the right octave, and then, you just find out the other note in relation to that. So if you find that it's the E above that A, then it must be in the 3 range. Does that make sense? Sort of, kind of.
I got you.
Yeah.
Let me say hello.
So we can use our keyboard to find out this stuff? So it's not we're just going to be doing it by,
oh, yeah.
Just hear the song and guessing?
This one, you definitely need to use your keyboard unless you're really good at identifying intervals by ear. This is actually what where you really want to use your keyboard to pick out the note, and that's a skill that you're gonna need to use for the rest of this class and for your whole life as a music professional, really.
Okay, so then say we had a flute or we had an oboe or something, and we had to find out what the interval was. Then we would want to bring up an oboe on our keyboard and stuff.
You could, if you think that is going to help you, you're absolutely welcome to. A piano sound should be just fine. But if it helps you to actually play that specific instrument to figure it out, you're free to do that. Logic has basically all of these instruments, so you can do that if you want. Yeah. Okay, so now we need to figure out the interval between A2 and E3. So in other words, A going up to E, what is that interval? And we just do that the same way we did it before, right? So we could use the same intervals ID sheet here. If the lowest note's an A, well, first of all, what's the interval number between A and E?
5.
Right. A, B, C, D, E. That's 5. So some kind of fifth. We build an A major scale. Since A is the lower of the two notes, we could use our circle of fifths, look at the key of A major. We've got 3 sharps. Those sharps are F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Yep, sorry, I should have let someone else answer.
Are you good?
And then we build our scale, so A, B,
E major,
C sharp,
C sharp,
then D,
D.
and then we get to E. And E is in the A major scale, and from the root to the fifth of a major scale is a perfect fifth.
Perfect fifth.
So we know that's a perfect fifth, right? So, and then we plug in that answer right here. And the test itself on FSO is multiple choice. So if you don't find your answer as one of the options, you went wrong somewhere. All right, so cool. Any questions about that? That's basically the whole process. It might take you a while though, because some of the recordings, actually most of the recordings, are a little bit older. That doesn't mean you won't be able to.
How many chances we get to take tests? Just one time?
This one is one time.
Good question.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, dang.
The Aurelia test, you get like what, 99 attempts or
99
something?
tries.
Yeah, okay.
So, but this one
I
is
like that one.
yeah, this one's a one-time thing, but it's just just start on
More
it
to it.
early, take your time with it, and just take your time pausing, rewinding, playing, pause, rewind, play until you're totally sure you found the right note, and then once you found the right note, write it down, and then make totally sure that you have identified the interval correctly, right? And just double check as much as you can, and you'll be okay. Make sure you're listening to the right notes too. Make sure you read the annotation on the track so you know you're not listening to the wrong part of the song or the wrong instrument or the wrong notes or something like that. All right. And okay, so any questions about that? Any other questions? Nope. Okay, cool. So that's all I wanted to drill tonight, unless anyone else had anything else you wanted me to drill some more.
So basically, if you get this down, then if you hear a melody or something on, a song on the radio or something, you can recreate it.
That's the idea. Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, and that's what I want. That's what I want to encourage all of you to do. You're driving around or whatever, listening to headphones or something. If you hear a song, hear a little riff, a little part of a melody, try to sing it back to yourself. And when you get to a keyboard, try to figure it out. Try to figure out what key it's in. What scale do these notes fit in? It might be in a minor key, major key. Try to figure that out. But yeah, at the very least, just try to pick it out on your keyboard. And that alone will strengthen your ear so much, and think about what intervals are involved in.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
So is it better, does it make a difference if you sing it out loud or if you sing it in your head? Which one,
I would definitely recommend singing it out loud. And if you need help matching pitches, there's an awesome website that's on that helpful links page, but I'll go ahead and put it in my browser real quick to show it to you. So anyone who needs help matching pitches with your voice, that's a really important skill to have. And anyone can learn it. It might take some time. Let me show you how this works. And this is the address right here. I'll drop it in the chat window as well. So what this is going to do, it's going to play a pitch. It's going to tell me what pitch it's playing. I'm going to try to sing the pitch, and it's going to show me how close I am on this little circle. And I could either, it doesn't matter what octave you sing that pitch in, so you could either go up to the pitch or down to the pitch. You can kind of gauge how close you are by seeing where you are in the circle. And the thing about this is that you should probably use headphones, because what this might do for me, since it's coming through my speakers right now, it might pick up its own sound, and count the answer as correct, even though I haven't sung anything. So I kind of have to turn this down so that it doesn't do that. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to purposefully miss the pitch with my voice, and then fish for it, or try to scoop up or down to it, just to kind of demonstrate how you would want to practice doing this. See what it did? See, it picked up its own sound. Okay, so it's playing an E. La 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 la. I don't know if you could hear what it's playing, but you get the idea. La 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 la. So that's basically what you do. Try it on your own and see if it works. All right, cool. So yeah, definitely better to sing it out loud. If you just sing things in your head, I don't know. I've tried it. It just doesn't work as well. It just simply doesn't. So try your best to sing that stuff out loud. Any other questions?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. And another thing you can do, this is really important. Try to, if you go to the Mr. Rogozinski, the course director, sent out an email today containing the archive from his lecture last night. Definitely watch that when you get a chance, as soon as you get a chance. But if you read the actual email, it gives you a detailed list of things to practice all month, and you should really, really take that seriously. Those things are playing up and down major scales, singing all the intervals. Let me just demonstrate that to you. Just pick a scale that's comfortable for you. And you really want to do these on all the scales. But like a comfortable one for me is G major. It's in my range. It's pretty easy. Cool. See you, Frank. Thanks for coming. And you just want to play up the scale and then sing the notes in the scale and singing the scale degrees like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you want to try to sing that whole scale without the keyboard and see how you do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's say you're
jamming my music. Turn it down.
Yeah. And now I hear static.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever's playing the hot jam, can you mute it?
Will, turn it down. Mute.
Or just mute yourself, William.
I don't think he knows he's still on.
I'll mute him. He'll get it. He'll get the lady saying muted. Let's go. Sorry, William, you were too loud. The music was too loud. So after you sing up and down the scale, we're almost done anyway. Once you sing up and down the scale, try it without the piano and see how you do. And if you're like singing up the scale and you feel like you're getting way off, just give yourself a note. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm not sure if I'm on the right note. 4, yeah, I was. You know what I mean. And then sing all the intervals within the scale from the root to another scale degree. So if I go 1, I'm gonna sing a major second. 1, 2, 1. Then I'm gonna sing a major third. 1, 3, 1. Perfect fourth. 1, 4, 1. Perfect fifth. 1, 5, 1. Major sixth. 1, 6, 1. Major 7. 1, 7, 1. Perfect octave. 1, 1, 1, or 1, 8, 1. Right? Then you can practice singing harmonic minor scale. Does everyone know how to form a harmonic minor scale? Does anyone remember that?
How to make a minor scale?
Yeah. The best way to do it, in my opinion, for a harmonic minor scale, just take a major scale. Let's say we took G major. You're going to lower 2 notes. You're close, Andre. Well, you're not going to raise any notes. You're actually going to lower 2 notes by a half step. You're going to lower the 3rd and the 6th. So if you take a major scale, lower the 3rd a half step and the 6th a half step. So what 2 notes would that be in G major? What 2 notes would I lower in G major to make it a G harmonic minor scale?
E and F?
Nope, not quite. So what's the 3rd of the scale is a B. So we go 1, 2, 3. B is the 3rd in G major, so I'm going to lower that a half step to B flat. So now my first 3 notes are G, A, B flat. What's the other note? What would be the 6th of the G major scale?
E.
E, right. So I'm going to lower that a half step to E flat.
Flat.
And now I'm going to have a
What
G.
were the 2 numbers? You said 4th and 7th?
Actually, the
Or 4th and 6th?
3rd and the 6th. So
3rd and 6th.
Just like you lower the 3rd in a major triad to make a minor triad, you're going to lower the 3rd in a major scale to make a minor scale. Same deal. but you also
Gotcha.
need to lower the sixth by a half step. So instead of
Gotcha.
G, A,
See,
B.
that just made so much more sense than music theory explanation.
Okay,
That was
cool.
so much easier.
Glad. I'm glad. At least you're getting it now. So, cool. So, yeah. So instead of G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, we need G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F sharp, G. All right.
Gotcha.
So, if it's only one harmonic minor scale for now, until you learn some more, just pick one and sing up it, just to get the sound of it in your head and to actually imitate it with your voice. Super important. And you're just going to sing the scale degrees the same way, keeping in mind you're doing a harmonic minor scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you want to try that after you've done it like several times with the keyboard. Try it without the keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That's a harder scale to sing, but still important to be able to do it. Do all that every day, then practice the intervals in the minor scale as well. 1, 2, 1. That's actually still a major second. 1, 3, 1. That's a minor third. 1, 4, 1. That's still a perfect fourth. 1, 5, 1. That's still a perfect fifth. There's a minor 6. 1, 6, 1. Right? And then a major seventh. 1, 7, 1, 1. Octave, 1. Do those every day. And the more you practice them, the more you'll get your head wrapped around them, the better you'll be able to match the pitches with your voice, and you'll be good. So any questions at all before we sign off? Happy to answer any questions.
I am gelling.
Cool.
About to go practice.
Great. That's what I want to hear. So a little practice every day will go a really, really long way. Super important. Thank you all for coming and sticking it out, especially the guys who've been here since 7 my time. I appreciate you coming. It shows that you're serious. And I know these things are long, but we're in a fast-paced program here, so you're going to need as much of this info as you can get, so take advantage of it. Don't hesitate to contact your instructor if you need help. We're happy to help you. So if you feel like you're lost, the last thing you want to do is just hide and hope everything works out okay, all right? So if you're in my section, my contact information is right here. I'm in section 3 and 4. Andre has a question. What is your question, Andre? And everyone else is free to go unless you want to catch Andre's question. Cool. Have a good night, Marcus. Thanks for coming.
Peace out, Miss Nick Bees.